every city you burn, I'm gonna build one high.
Greetings, fellow Empyreans. I am Ashtarothi, and it is month of the year 8, YC125. This is the Eve Universe Show. Look, I have my priorities today, okay? How's it going, guys? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I did start a little bit early. We can thank Sheesh for that. I do hope that Sheesh feels that he got the value for his contribution. I will point out that all things considered, there is a very good chance that I was going to start 15 minutes late today. So if it wants you to, if that helps, if that helps you feel any better, you actually got more value than you thought. All right, no, I'm neckbearding it up right now. My coffee machine messed up, so I had to I barely made my coffee. I have notes and I have thoughts. I had a plan. I was going to do some, I started out today thinking that I was going to do the New Eden News. Like, we have 3 New Eden News articles. So I was going to do the New Eden News, just plow through them. Then we were going to talk about the dev blog. Then we were going to, if we had time, do the economic report. Then, once I watched the live stream, I pretty much decided that what I was going to do is actually weave them together. I couldn't wait to do all 3 all 3 of the New Eden News and analysis and all that stuff, and then start talking about this stuff. So maybe I'd weave it between each other. But at this point, I'll be honest, guys. So, I don't know if you can see this well. Yeah, so the brown, I didn't even get to even erase the old notes, because I just grabbed it and started writing notes. So, ignore the brown text. Only the red text matters. I think that we should probably just jump into this. So, welcome, guys. There's plenty of New Eden News. We'll talk about that. But really, the New Eden News, I think, is actually probably best understood in the context of what we learned today. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking with it. So, you like red words? Yeah, well, that just happened to be the marker I had at the time. Very organized notes. No, I'm actually already upset at myself. Like, if so I didn't know I was going to do all of those notes. Oh, yeah, sorry. My bad. I also, I do want to thank Maiku. He and I, after he was watching it with me, or I think he showed up halfway through, but then afterwards he also combed through it again, and he pointed out some interesting stuff to me. And on top of the other stuff, by the time we got done with that, that's the other reason why this stream was going to be late, because the first half of I set an hour to prep, because there was the stream, and then I'd have an hour to do all my stuff, and then I'd be live, and that was fine. But then we spent, a half an hour talking about stuff. So, and trust me, it's good that we did that before the show, probably, for some of it. But, so we're going to just jump into this stuff. I'm a bit scattered at the moment, too. When you're too... Yeah, so I started writing things down. The first thing I wrote down was contribution methods for some reason. So I started here. You can see I was like, oh, I'll start below the other stuff. And then I went down, and then I was like, oh, okay. And then I went in between. Maybe that'll work. Okay. Above, I still have a spot there. Maybe I can fit this over here. And then at that point, I just gave up on everything, because there was too much to erase the brown stuff and get away and keep the red stuff. So then I just kind of decided to start writing down, and then I ran out of room again. So the last note is here in the corner. So that's where we're at. This is We aren't even supposed to be started yet, Sheesh. This is all this segment brought to you by Sheesh exclamation mark. Sheesh exclamation mark. He's right about me. Red is important, which is hilarious because your super chats are coming in yellow. Can you change that? Because like there's different colors for. Is that my thing? Is that me
Red
that's
is
doing
important.
that? Now I need to know if I can change it. Can I change it? Well, I could report you for it. I'm not going to do that. Anywho, depends on the donation size. Oh yeah, you're right, because the $2 one was one and the $10 one was another. That makes sense. Oh god. Now we got to figure out what is the somebody look up. Don't make somebody. Oh god. Oh Jesus. So how can I help you, Sheesh? What is the rest of the day? All right. Thanks. Wow. I'm going to sip my coffee now. Oh my god. Am I going to sip my coffee now? Look. Thank you. I'm going to try to jump into it now. I'm a new player. Do your thing. Holy snickerdoodles. All right. Well,
Connecting.
I can.
yeah, you can. Okay. So let's get started. So I need to bring up some pages though. I do want to start as like a call to arms. If anybody's able to do Galmill stuff, we could really use your help right now in Integral. But that's not really what we're going to be talking about right now. Yeah. Here we go. And then and go there. All right. So now I have a couple of tweets that I made. And oh yeah, that's right. Before we get into this, I am sponsoring the conclusion of the Gallente Shipcasters. So if you contract me 5 transporter data cores, I will pay 1 Master Arm Cerebral Accelerator in either Intaki or Pamene or Hades. So, and that's until we complete the task. So, okay. You only want to help the we like Aderon Robotics tries to make a difference for the Gallente Federation. Like that's part of our focus as a group. So that's why. Anywho, so I have tweets. Wait, I guess we should start with the dev blog. That's what we should start with. Let me know if I need to close my window. I know that my noise cancellation makes it not a problem when I'm not talking, but it might make it a problem when I am talking. All right. Also, my head. That way it doesn't die on me randomly. I did do my wait. I didn't do my intro. I did kind of. All right. So corporations enhanced. Welcome to the fourth. Actually, welcome to the fourth and final installment of the Viridian and Focus series of articles. So this is the final installment. That's one of the things I do want to talk about. First and foremost, this is called the final installment. And at the bottom, rather than mention another dev blog, it simply says imminent release. So I don't know if that means automatically that Viridian, like, I predicted that Viridian's going to release either on the 20th or likely the 27th, right? That's more of my conservative estimate. And it's Malak's estimate. But the way that this is worded here kind of seems to imply, oh, I need to put away the Eve Universe show logo. That's what the problem is. Or at least I need to change where it is. For those of you who didn't see, I did a special episode yesterday. I did a live stream of No Man's Sky in VR doing the new expedition. So feel free to check that out if you want to, and let me know if you want me to do it again or more. And yes, LMO, and I know. Any rate, so here we go. It should still be in the top, shouldn't it? Yeah, there you go. So that is curious. It makes me think that it could be as early as next Tuesday. So pretty much any of the following Tuesdays is a pretty good chance for Viridian. It could be any time now. We still don't have exact details of the Dread. I think that the big question is, when are they going to update Sissy? Because they haven't updated Sissy in like a week or two. They haven't updated Sissy in 22 days. So, that's the real question. It's like, when are they going to expose to us the actual deets of things like the Dread? And that will decide a lot of things. And I think that it is not an accident that they're holding those things to they're very close to their chest, right? You'd expect at least a features and idea dev like post by Fozzie or something. But we don't have that, to my knowledge. So let me move this here. There we go. We cover everything in 10 minutes before I have to go to class. TLDR, I am stupid excited. What's up, Ash? Oh my gosh. Stop. Hold on. Let me see. Am I now I don't know if I missed some chat. There we go. That's around 100 days since the shot. I always predict the second or third, like usually I think the Tuesday after the 20th, right? Also, like if they were going to do it earlier than Jiminy Christmas, this website is so bright that it makes my skin bright. That's funny. Anywho, there we are. So corporations enhanced. This does give a lot of really good information. We will cover some of the details and some of the stuff that they talked afterwards. As I said, I have notes, but let's go ahead and start with the video itself.
In Viridian expansion, we are also introducing corporation projects. This is a new feature that will enable corporations to create projects for their members to contribute to and to monitor the progress. Essentially what this is not something new that we are coming up with. This is what players have been doing for many years, because every corporation needs a direction, and every CEO or every director in a corporation realizes that it needs to be communicated to the members what we are supposed to do, what is our goal, what is our purpose, and how we achieve that.
So, I mean, this is awesome, obviously. It's very exciting, but hold on. If I go to here, this is our goal board, monthly goal board that we built. So I made the joke, like, CCP asks us, hey, can I copy from your homework? And we're like, yeah, just change it a little.
So today, all of that is done in third-party tools usually. I mean, in game to some extent as well, people are using.
Also, I'm not suggesting actually that they copied from us. Like, we're not the only ones making these kinds of tools. It just was really funny. Oh, shoot, no, stop. What am I doing? Stop.
Using bulletin boards for the corporation to communicate what kind of projects the corporation is engaged in and how you as a new member or as a regular member can contribute to them. So we're adding a tool that enables all of that within the client, where the corporation managers, which means the directors or the CEO, can create a new project, and then that project becomes visible to every member, and every member can see the project name, project description, what are its details, but also what is the contribution method, how they can contribute to this project, what is required of them to do for this project to progress. And then they see the progress made so far on the project. They see the number of people, of other people who have contributed, so they can get a good picture of how popular this project is in the corporation. Or maybe not that many people are doing it, so I should contribute because it might be important for the success of our organization.
One thing that they don't mention here is I have some frame images from the demonstration today, but we can go back and look at some of these. But the thing that's interesting about this is because everyone can see the leaderboard. Like, if I wanted to know who to contact about doing a particular thing, opening up the board and finding the person that's at the top of our organization, of the contribution of that thing, might be a good guess, right? Let me just see if I can adjust a little bit. My screen still. Yeah, I was just trying to keep my mic out of the way, but I feel like I'm really close to the edge at that point. Let's go on.
So all this comes from how corporations are an important structure, social structure in EVE. Basically, this is the basis of all the social interactions in EVE. People gather in corporations. A corporation is the thing you join first.
Can I just say, it was commented earlier in chat. Oh, she said, I love this guy's voice. This dude's entire vibe is why I love CCP. I just got to say that, like, as a company.
First, when it comes to establishing a group of people you play with, and every corporation having goals exposed to players helps in communicating what we are doing, how you can.
Let me go listen to that again.
Structure, social structure in EVE. Contribution method, how they can contribute to this project, what is required of them to do for this project to progress. And then they see the progress made so far on the project. They see the number of people, of other people who have contributed, so they can get a good picture of how popular this project is in the
Okay, so it shows who's contributed but not how much. I think it would be pretty good to have a leaderboard, but either way, as an option.
For Viridian, every corporation having goals exposed to players helps in
One of the things that I have learned in attempting to build the Convocation of Empyreans is that the number one most challenging piece of it is communicating to your members information. Like, there's no, because it's a game, and therefore people like tune out in different ways at different times for different lengths of time and all sorts of stuff. Helping people understand what is going on and keep people up to date enough for us to actually progress a collective goal. I mean, that's why these, think about it, okay? This isn't like that these tools were built by third-party devs because it was their college project and they just had a really good interest in practicing with the API. No, these tools were built because it was so difficult to communicate and manage these kinds of collective tasks. So the thing is that there's a lot, and we'll talk about this. Do we talk about this now? We'll talk about this for now. One of the things to keep in mind about this is that it is a tool, not a feature. Okay? What is the difference? A tool is a thing that is used to get things done. Often, tools will be a balance between focused and specialized, right? A chisel is a tool. It can be used to split wood. It can be used to carve wood. It could be used to kill a person, right? It's used for all those things. It's good at all of those things. It's just a tool. So in the same way, what we have here, like one of the big complaints that I have, and others have already, is the idea that we would like it that we could just put the bounty as part of it, and therefore it auto pays out. It does not auto pay out, which means someone still has to go in and distribute the pot based on the numbers. And now potentially people are going to have to turn in and then just wait for the whole thing to complete to get paid out at all. So there's going to be, it would be so much more convenient if I could just drop $1 billion ISK in a bucket and then it just pays out people based on the percent, you know, how much, if we're collecting trit and I put $1 billion ISK in a bucket and I say, I want 1 billion trit or whatever, then every single time somebody turns one in, it would say like, oh, this is worth 1 million ISK or whatever. Yeah, no, this is worth 1 ISK and therefore pay it out 1 ISK per trit. That would be convenient. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that that's a fair price. I just made the math easy. Yeah, automated payments can absolutely happen in the future. But the thing is this. That is an option. But this tool allows us to build any social structure that we want to around it. We can fill in the blanks with our systems. It just replaces, or at least augments significantly, the tools that we used to use. And there were some people that were like, but the core people already have these things. They're already going to be better. While it is true that the corp things are going to be better, one, this is an excellent use case for nice Cam. This is an excellent use case for the Excel plugin. Right? Now you can pull all your numbers into an Excel plugin because you're already going to put, you're already using the spreadsheets to calculate everything else. You don't even need an ESI endpoint at that point. You just have the Excel plugin, right? But yeah, some people have it in game. The point is that A, this makes it far more visible, which is absolutely critical. Okay. We built that entire resource website. Ask me how much of a difference it's made. And I'll tell you, not enough. Not enough people are using it. We're not promoting it enough because it's about communication. Communication's the hardest part, right? So how do I communicate to people? how do I make the resource board valuable enough to make it so that people can want to go to the resource board and find stuff and then fulfill it? Well, the resource board has a lot of weaknesses, and I'd like to iterate on part of it or whatever, but now I probably don't have to nearly as much, because this tool will do what we need it to do, and allow people to in-game just find out the information. There's a lot of people that are just not going to look out of game for everyday information. It's not going to occur to them. And I know some of you look up every single person in local on Zkill and, you know, whatever, but a lot of people will just default to the information that's in the game for various reasons. So, like, this is the missing piece that has been, you know, that we have not had in industry. So, like, right now, right, we have, like, let's say we're doing T2 industry, right? Well, there's an invention phase, there's the T1 phase, there's the there's the copying, there's the inventing, there's the T1 build, there's the T2 build, and there's optionally the reactions. It depends on whether or not we buy the reactables and react, or if we buy the reacted finished product and build with it, right? Whatever that is. Those are all steps that can be turned in. We can do those goals, right? If we want to build 500 armor rep tech 2 small armor reps, we can just put up the goals for those various things, right? And then we can also provide access to, or maybe readily available contracts for, the materials to build that stuff, right? So now we can just sell materials either on the market, maybe, heaven forbid, or through, I feel called out. GM Trails, you should be dancing in the streets. What are you talking about? Like, this is everything. Outsiders could run Quest 2. Yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't look like this is going to have visibility settings, but this is the next step to public quests, right? But so, like, we could have the reactables, or like, here's a good one. I have, Orleas has 10 Vexers that she needs turned into Vexer Navy issues, right? And so she'll put up the 10 Vexers on contract, which is actually not as hard to do as you would think. Like, making contracts, copying contracts of a thing that you have to split them into multiple contracts is actually not too bad. It's the buying ones that are the one that's difficult, which is why this tool is really good. But at any rate, so we just put up a goal for 10 VNIs, and then we put up for contract 10 Vexers. Sure, somebody else might just turn in a VNI that they have, but then we just repurpose. We either use those Vexers for the next time, or throw them up on the market, or whatever, right? So you can put in the goal and then provide the tool, and then, like, potentially even have a description of the goal. Hell, if you could link the contract, imagine that. If you could link a contract to a goal, that'd be pretty sweet. But yeah, this is not replacing the industry process. This is giving us the tools to have a functional industry process, which is exceptionally cool. You know what's not exceptionally cool? We've been too positive. You ready for the first real big nit grit? It's not the payout thing. It's the CEO and director only thing. That is unacceptable. Unacceptable. The director level access is the most dangerous access you can give anyone. So now the only people who can put up a goal of 10 VNIs are also the people that can steal everything from everywhere within the corporation with no questions asked. There needs to be a new role. There needs to be a, you know, manage or like a shit. We thought of a couple of managers during this whole process. There's or we had 2 or 3 different roles, but at least one that allows people to post these. Yeah, project manager, exactly. Like we need a project manager, and then oh yeah, it's the guy, the ability to buy things with LP. That we need like a market manager, that can also buy stuff as the corporation, because that's the other thing that's like if our alliance, if we trust our directors a lot more than a lot of other alliances, but if you were doing things the correct way, I would have to personally log in every single time we want to spend the LP. So one of the other staff or directors would have to be like, hey, log in and spend it. Or, well, actually, technically, if you just transfer directly over to that scenario, Bayonex for Malro or for Ader. But any rate, yeah. So that is my gripe at the moment. It is, if the tool wasn't so gosh darn useful, I would consider that breaking. Like I would not give people, like I feel like it's tempting me to give director access to people I don't want to give director access to, right? Because like I love Malak. Malak does a great job and I trust him, but I'm going to want industry managers that can put up bounties. I don't need the industry manager to generate a list of all of the bounties that we need to put up, so that way I can put them all up, right? Just because a director has to personally set up all of the T2 projects. I just, that needs to be fixed before the payout thing needs to be fixed. Also, the black box is not there. Does anybody disagree with me? I'm looking for, because that seems almost obvious to me at this point. Still pretty usable. Get an industry director in charge of industry managers below. Yeah, I mean, it is absolutely usable. It is absolutely workable. And the one argument that can be said in favor of it is that it's the kind of thing that is more convenient. It makes this tool more powerful the smaller the corp, right? If you go with the assumption that the big, most organized corps already have their own tools and don't need to switch, then this tool services smaller corps predominantly. That said, I just see it as a design oversight. The thing that I find really weird, okay, is that they added a new role to change the color of structures. And yet only directors and CEO can change this information, can set up bounties. That doesn't smell right to me. Okay. Sorry. We are 2 minutes into the video. So tomorrow we're going to do a couple of 3 new news and a world news, or in a economic report.
In communicating.
Let's be real. We're going to be on Sissy tomorrow. Fingers crossed.
What we are doing, how you can help. For Viridian, we are adding 5 types of projects. The first type is what we call manual.
Oh. What? The feedback is intense? Oh. Okay. Sorry. I thought the sound was messed up.
Where you as a CEO or director can create a project without any contribution method. Essentially, this is just a meter to show and to communicate how well we are doing in particular scenario. So this is a replacement for what players used to do, creating like progress bars from hashtags in text to show how well we are doing, and putting that in MOTD in chat channels.
So I kind of want to know more about this arbitrary one, because I want to know whether or not I can still manually change the percentage to be displayed. We might want to look into that. But Bob the Deity and Bob the Alliance is not the same thing. So, wow, that was highly distracting. But the key that's here is that, like, we're focused on the turn-in goals. But, and arguably we could set up mining goals too with API stuff. But several of these goal types are just simply not available to us right now, right? Like this idea of damage done, that's actually pretty interesting and cool. What is an MOTD? The message of the day at the top of your chat channel. You should probably read it in whatever corporation or fleet you're in. Yeah.
So this is our replacement for that, where everyone can see the actual progression of particular project. The second type of project is
also Orleas. Second on, knock-on effect. This is a really good excuse to close some of those offices that we were iffy on because we don't want people to turn things into them. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it.
About dealing damage to other capsuleers. And for that project, the creator, which is the CEO or director, can specify the organization, which can be a militia, or can be a specific alliance, or a specific corporation, or even a specific character, which means creating a system akin to bounty hunting, where the corporation members can be rewarded for dealing damage to specific character or specific organization. So this enables the corporation to monitor the participation of their members in combat, essentially. Another type of project is Mine Ore, where the corporation can monitor the ore mined either in...
Sorry. I was watching a short documentary about the jungle military training in the U.S. has in Hawaii. The interesting thing that I'm learning is that some refer to the son as Bob. Absolutely. I was in the Cav Scouts, and because you never want to refer to sun or rain when you're out in the field.
Specific system or specific type of ore, and later can reward people in their corporation for doing so. The fourth type of project is kill and...
So what I like about this is that what we can do is when the moon pops, it tells you exactly how much ore is in the pop, right? So what we can do is set up a goal to mine that amount of ore in that system, which gives us a different way to track progress, or, what people did besides using the mining ledger. It can also allow us to be like, hey, we've got mining facilities in this specific system, but we don't have an Athenor, so come mine. We could say, we want to promote low-sec mining, so we're going to put up a goal. We're going to try to mine 1 million units of, Nice in the next month, etc., etc. No love for us, poor Logi. So, real talk. The problem with mechanics involving Logi is that it's too hard to game, or it's too easy to game. So I think that the real big key here when it comes to Logi, just in general, is that we need to be able to track actual heal and separate it out from overheal, right? So it's like you only get credit for the actual hit points you actually rep. If your rep lands when they're at full hit points, then you don't get any value out of that. Because, like, you could be like, oh, well, I could still just shoot him and heal him. Well, yeah, but you can also get the DPS goal with that too, right? So, but yeah, I think that the secret to fixing Logi lies somewhere in allowing it to track actual hit points repped. CCP Nomad said that remote reps and boosts is under consideration for a future addition to corp programs. Yeah, and I think that that is not inconsistent with what I'm saying, because let's put it this way. If it was easy to do, it wouldn't be under consideration. It would be in the game, right? So what's being considered is how much would it take to be able to do that? They can track DPS and overdamage, so the metric is there. Yes and no. So I warn you, especially when it comes to this kind of code, which has to be legacy code. Like, you could think that the point A and point B are next to each other, but if there's a wall, it's like, think about like architecture, right? It's like, oh, if you could just move the desk 5 feet over, well, or make the, well, there's a wall there. Well, if you could just knock out the wall, then we could just put it in between. Well, but it's a load-bearing wall. Like, you can't get there from here. It doesn't matter how close you are. So if the way that they manage logistics, healing, is different than the way that they manage damage, then it could take a pretty fundamental rework to be able to do it. Now, that being said, the activity tracker does track how much Logi you've done. So the number's there, but I don't think that's overheal. I don't think that it already tracks that, because here's the thing. There is currently no way to effectively tell if one of the Logi in your corp is a spy or a bad actor, right? If they're just throwing one rep on instead of all of their reps, they are gimping you, and there's currently no real mechanic to be able to tell besides the rest of the Logi, like, telling, right? Because there's just not enough feedback. So if there was a path through that road, trust me, somebody would have built it by now. We should probably continue with the video, right? Hold on. Oh, right. Before we do, I do want to thank Orleas for mentioning this earlier. We do have an invite code. If you are coming back to Eve, or if you haven't used this code before, if you haven't, they offer 1 million free SP to every account, right? All you have to do is use somebody's buddy code, and you get 1 million unallocated SP. This is useful for a few things. First of all, if you're coming back to Eve and and therefore your account was made before this offer was made, or you made your account before it was retroactive, or without using the code before it was retroactive, you can now use it retroactively. So you can use the link down below or in the comments in order to... What? Hold on, I scrolled up. Oh. Weird. I don't have Danny's post at all. Maybe... Oh, I'm looking at OBS. Nope. Now you got me going crazy. I'm like two layers down the rabbit hole at this point. Well, whatever. So the point is, if you haven't got 1 million free SP, you should do that. It's worth 40 days of alpha training or 20 days of omega training. It's free. It's everybody's. I already have had enough of them. So basically what we do is all of my staff, like for instance, Orleas here, that is keeping me at least sort of on track, and people like Maiku, who help me break down the stuff, and anybody else in my corp is on a giant list. And if you use the link down below or in the chat, it will send you to a random one of theirs link, and they'll get the rewards for doing so. They get some cerebral accelerators, which is a little bit of ISK, and 15 days of game time. So that's 1 million free SP for you. If you do have like a character that's already Omega, you can always just use your own buddy code to give your rewards to yourself if you are interested. Is your account sub to the next century by now? Okay, so oh, I'm in Invictus. Hold on. Let's find out. This one is the one that was tied to... So about a year, almost 2 years now, when Ash first got the Marshal, I transferred it over to Invictus in order to, I might as well have my second account paid up too. And then I just kept on doing it. And so Invictus was the one that was on when the changeover first happened. So this account by far got the bigger boost. I've actually recently added Ashtarothi's on the list. So full disclosure, I do get them on Ash too still. But same as everybody else. Yeah, so this is, I don't know if you can read this from here. This says Omega State expires 2032 to 24. So yeah. That's what happened. All right. Yeah, browser's in the way. I was tactical about it this time. Thank you. Oh, and speaking of ads, I should probably play one. Boop. There you go. Ads. Still got 86 years or 68 years to go. Yeah. We're getting there. I guess I get to play this game. I'm stuck here with you guys. Also, just a reminder: 1 Master Arm Cerebral Accelerators for 5 transport data cores in Intaki, Hades, or Pamene. KK, thanks. That just goes to show that CCP should listen to you, since they are giving them so much money. I actually really hate that idea. I think that they should listen to me because my ideas are good. But like the idea of like, I pay you $15 a month, whatever. But yeah, no. And they do listen to me. Actually, one of the things I wanted to talk about is the fact that I can't remember the last time I talked to CCP Ghost, but I did talk to CCP Ghost during invasions, because I was one of the big, I guess he would have considered me then a larger scale FC for PvE. All right, let's keep going.
NPC, which means that the corporation can establish a project saying kill 10,000 NPCs, and then every member can contribute to that. That project can be specific to a particular solar system, which means corporations that have in mind increasing military index in specific solar system can use that to incentivize their members to do the ratting in that system specifically, because it will play into the strategic index of it.
So, hear me out. While this is obviously a very nullsec oriented one, right? It allows people to focus where the ratting should go. What this also does is, let's say we want to make a push for Nenemelia, right? We could put, like, we need to kill 1,000 rats in Nenemelia, because when you're running offensive Plex, you kill rats. And there might be other reasons why people are killing rats in the system, and things like, the rats in the supply depots and all those kinds of sites too. But like, you could do X amount of damage. We want to do 1 million damage to other players and kill 1 million rats in the next week or whatever is reasonable in the system of Nenemelia. And that gets people to go there and Plex and fight. Do you think it'll work for Plexing specifically? That would be best. Well, he said you can specify the system, but not the kind of rat. If you could specify the kind of rat, then you could. But I think that it would be fine. Like, you would obviously see like a big spike if somebody ran like a combat anomaly in the site or like a system. But like, I think that I want to say that the faction warfare, the killing of the faction warfare rats are going to be probably the biggest one that faction warfare corp is doing, right? Because it's only your corp. So your corp in that system killing rats. So I think that it should be able to work. It will, at the very least, again, if this is all about communication, at the very least, it will give us it'll give people direction and allow us to view contribution. Now, granted, Aderon already has a better board than this, but that better board requires API access to be requested. This is communicated to everybody, no matter what. And
then the last, and I think the most important one, type of project is deliver item. So this is where a corporation can really ask their members to deliver specific type of item to one of their offices or to any of their offices. This essentially will enable the corporations to create buyback programs within the game. So this enables corporation.
I want to pause right here. So somebody was talking about, like, I hope these visuals go elsewhere. This is a normal NPC station. That's a propaganda tower outside of it. They were talking about how, you can see it in the dev blog later on, that they're going to be adding more and more of this stuff that shows that things are ratcheting up. The tension is ratcheting up throughout New Eden between the empires.
To one.
I think every player corp should have LP and potentially an LP store that they can set up for those mission rewards. So, Comey, what I've actually thought about was that when we were just brainstorming what all of this could mean, one of the thoughts was that a corporation could transform the LP that's donated to corporation LP, and then use those corporation LP as a reward for the tasks, and then have the corporate script store. But you could theoretically just generate the corporate LP out of nowhere and have that be the way to purchase items in the Corp LP store. I think the Corp LP store idea is absolutely like the next logical step from this.
Reward the players who contribute for a particular purpose, whether the corporation needs minerals to build a super capital or a structure. On the other hand, it enables buyback programs where a corporation will just buy the items delivered to it.
Notice he said it won't be the buyback program. It will enable a buyback program, which is absolutely true. And to the subject of the fact that, like, it has, you have to do the whole project first. That's still how we did it in the days when we had like a big T2 industry program. Was that, like, every month we decided what we were building for the month, and it divided out into different jobs. So there were inventors and builders and blah 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 blah. And so everybody would do their part, and we had a tracking tool called LME that tracked all this stuff. And then at the end of the month, we would put that stuff on the market, and based on the value of the stuff, we would pay out everybody based on the profits and the hours, the man hours of work that they've earned by doing the various tasks. And the thing is that you just have it be a team of people, and it's a rolling thing, right? So you're always building, we're doing this week's, this month's, this whatever quarter's supply, and then getting it out, or, this rush delivery thing. It would be kind of cool if you could make these things reoccurring. That was one of the things that we juggled when we made the other stuff. That sounds so labor intensive. What do you mean? Which part sounds labor intensive? That's why we had LME. Sorry, we said, hey, I want 500 Afterburner 2s, and LME would create the invention tasks, the whatever, and then would track our progress doing those things, doing corp jobs and whatnot. And then at the end of the month, there's just paid out based on hours, because it just, again, you just put in what the value is, and then the tool just spit out how much to pay everybody. Like, that does take someone doing it, so it is labor, but it's literally the easiest version of, you know what? Hold on. Give me a second. I think this would be best if I showed you guys what the way we did it for the invasions. I mean, arguably, I could have probably searched for it, but I couldn't remember. I thought I was going to be able to find it easier by scrolling than by searching. Trig loot 10. Oh, whatever. Let's see if this is it. Nope, that's literally just a number. All right, hold on. Oh, this is not what I want to do either. Invasion. Do it on the wrong account. Enable the corp. In order the corp fund play, this ditch the tedium. But again, like by having the tool not automate the rewards, it allows players to build any reward structure that they want to on it, right? If we wanted to reward progress every couple of days, then we could do that. If we wanted to pay out all at once at the end, if we wanted to just have people donate it to donate it, so that way we could build some sort of mutual project. But really, like, there's a sense of we're all in this together, right? The guy who's mining the minerals or doesn't actually get paid until the dread is sold. But then when the dread, we built this dread, you know, I can see where that's handy. And I mean, manually paying out the reward, again, like that's, I don't know if we should ever get it that far where there's not a human being having to actually do the payout. But having the thing where like a specific goal pays them out, you know, I put in $1 billion ISK and ask for, God, I'm going to get prices wrong again. So just get over it. I want 10 Esteros and I put in $1 billion ISK, and it like knows, like when you turn in one, it sees that it's 10%, then so it pays you out 10% of $1 billion ISK. So it pays you 100 million ISK. That all kind of checked out, at least, I think. Oh my gosh. What did I call it? No. Because the problem is that like it moves it to the top, I think it is, when you open it. So the question is not when did I edit it last, but rather when did I open it last in comparison to everything else? And the answer to that is, oh boy, I don't know. Maybe? Wait, actually, maybe it might be sorted differently. But again, remember, this could very well just wire directly in to the new Excel thing. You've got to be kidding me. Hold on. Owned. Oh, hold on. Oh, is this it? No. I swear it should just be called Invasion something. Nope. One of those. Oh well. Yeah, one of the guys at Microsoft was a CCP dev. Not only that, but he was the EVE Online brand manager, for the record. I'm about to give up. Or at the very least, turn the video back on. Keep what in game? Oh, yeah, well, yeah. I don't know. I think that my point is that this will allow you to have. It's easy to build a spreadsheet tool if that kind of information is ported out to it. All right, hold on. Let's just keep the video going.
To later resell them in Jita.
So in Viridian, we're releasing 6 new types of dungeons or adventures, as we're calling them, called the Homefront Operations. And these will immediately be discoverable through the air opportunities. And what we're aiming for with these operations is accessible content. It's optimized for about 4 to 5 players. The intention is that a more seasoned player can take out newer players. It's different types of roles you can test out in this. And there's been a demand for something like this for quite some time in the game that we want to meet with this, and we're really excited about it because you can go in for 15 minutes, meet a couple of new people, test out being in a fleet, test out different types of roles, get decent rewards. Doesn't take a long time. If you liked, the players that you're playing with, and there's some sort of connection, you can immediately go and take on more operations and start, building the seed for, belonging in a group, being a part of something bigger. That is so important for our game.
Okay. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to pause the hunt for this sheet, but I do want to talk about a little thing, which is this guy. I bet a lot of you guys don't know who this guy is. Not only do I know who this guy is, I know a bit about his brain and his arm, but yeah, I think it was an arm. He's a very interesting dude. So, like all my stories, my story about what's happening right now begins in 2008. As we all remember, 2008, there was a big recession. I know he's like rocking the hair, man. That's new. There was a big recession. The bank problems. Now, one of the countries that successfully went after some of the bad actors and punished them successfully for their contribution towards the bank problems of 2008 was Iceland. And one of the people that made that happen was CCP Ghost as an interrogator. So he was a professional interrogator. He successfully was part of the process of like literally dismantling and getting these guys brought to justice. And then Hilmar shows up to him and says, how would you like to try to solve the largest puzzle, human puzzle ever amassed? And he joined on. So if you remember the Inception MPE, that was his first dipping his toes into the whole thing, right? But this guy is focused on that idea of the friendship machine. That and this is a big, broad topic. If people want me to go into the friendship machine more, we can. Probably another time, or maybe later today. I don't know. There is a couple of videos about it, but basically the idea is that like being in a group, suffering or struggling under extreme harsh like challenges is what breeds strong lasting friendships. Therefore, EVE Online is a friendship machine. So he talks about how they interviewed a whole bunch of people, alliance leaders and FCs and such for this. I talked to him in 2019 at EVE Vegas. That was during the height of invasions and emerging conduits. What I talked about to him was that emerging conduits were perfect for this this kind of friendship machine thing, because it rewarded up to the first 3 people evenly, just like Faction Warfare -5 sites do. This was the first time we had seen that. So the first 3 people got full reward, and then after that it was distributed evenly. So it behooved you, if you're soloing it and somebody else shows up, it doesn't actually take anything from you, except for it just makes the site go by faster. Except the predominant reward was, like, the site itself paid 3.5 million, but the loot off of Zoria could easily be 10 to 20 million. So in spite of the fact that everything about the site made it perfect for this like friendship machine thing, it did not promote cooperative content because people were still drawn to compete over that reward, right? So that was the big problem. So that was my feedback, is that there needs to be, these things need to be something that when someone else shows up, you think, oh, awesome. You know, this just got easier, or, you know, whatever. Now, people could still come in and be a bad faith actor, you know, could still, potentially we could still have ne'er-do-wells in these things. I don't know for sure whether or not these sites are that way. I assume that ne'er-do-wells can come in and do stuff. But I don't think we have those details yet. But my point is, more like it needs to feel like you're not losing out. You need to feel like you wouldn't have done it better if you just done it by yourself. It would have been more rewarding if they hadn't been there. It should be more rewarding when somebody else shows up. Now, that does favor multi-boxing potentially, and some people do that. But the thing is that, like, it's kind of okay because multi-boxers are going to multi-box, but it still creates a really good opportunity for people that aren't multi-boxing. Like, tasks that can be multi-boxed don't need coordination tools to let people get together to do them together, right? The multi-boxer just does it. So who cares? The multi-boxer already has lots of other stuff to do. So this is something, like, one of the things I really like is like resource wars, which, yeah, you can multi-box it, but it is just objectively better to do it as a fleet because you need everybody to be paying attention to their particular piece of the pie, you know? So, but we'll talk more about the sites when we can see some of them.
More operations and start, you know, building the seed for, you know, belonging in a group, being a part of something bigger. That is so important for our game.
In Viridian expansion, we'll add loyalty point taxes for the player corporations. That means that corporations now will be able not only to tax the income of their members, but also the LP. That enables the corporation to increase their revenue, basically, because they will be able to, the corporations will be able to sell, to exchange the LP for items in the LP stores, and then sell them for ISK. So basically, we are increasing the revenue stream for the corporations. For what that means for the members is that their corporations will be having more resources, which means better infrastructure, and better infrastructure means more opportunities, and more opportunities means more explosions. So that's our goal, just enabling the corporation to increase their revenue. And
okay. Here's the part of the stream I like to call Ashtarothi attempts to argue that taxes are good, actually. Okay, so I did see quite a few people giving knee-jerk reactions. and not all in the same direction. So we'll break down a couple of misconceptions that we saw and some clarities that got made in the video or in their live stream. First and foremost, NPC taxes are on LP are 0. So if you're in an NPC corp, this affects you exactly not at all. All right. This is only an optional thing that a corporation can do. Now, there was some people who were arguing that that's not fair because ISK is taxed. Why not LP? So the first step to that argument is, well, the reason why it's 10% is to incentivize people to move to a player corporation and then allow that player corporation to have a rate that is still better, but still provides some income, right? I don't believe that players need an LP tax to disincentivize ISK earning or being in an NPC corp. LP, like ISK, goes away into sinks in all kinds of different ways, and how much you make out of it is taken in different ways. But LP earned is LP earned, right? And so the idea that you would start destroying LP in the same way that they destroy ISK probably makes some people uncomfortable. And again, the whole point is that there are groups that want to do this. Here's the secret. Faction warfare has this interesting problem, which is it has no top-down income, and yet players still expect infrastructure. Like a faction warfare corp makes exactly bumpkiss from faction warfare itself, or from the members' activities doing the actual stuff. You would earn, if they do missions, you would get some of the ISK, which is trivial, and like ratting bounties, I guess. It's nothing. You get nothing, okay? That's why you see LP buyback programs, we had a reactions program for a long time, other modes of income, because people still want SRP, people still want, what they want. So a high level income. What happens is, as a group gets bigger and bigger and bigger, the problems on leadership compound, right? The answer, it becomes harder and harder and harder to solve. And then they see nullsec and they look over, like, this is why they get a taste of nullsec. It usually isn't the membership that wants to move to nullsec. 9 times out of 10, I find it's the leadership that wants to move to nullsec, because ratting taxes fixes all of your problems. So again, the point here is that Aideron Robotics, the members of Aideron Robotics, want to be able to support the corporation. But right now, the only real way to support Aideron Robotics is to literally just donate ISK directly. Like I said, we have the buyback, we have the sellback, all those kinds of things, and that we get by on too. But to be like, it's not the same. And so we are now getting the option. So if your corporation uses this, the reason why it needs to be 0 is because if your corporation raises the LP tax, they can't have cover for that, right? You do it with the consent of the people. The ISK tax, they can set it anywhere below 10%, and it'll still feel at least some level of reasonable. But by not giving them an LP tax to compete with, you have no cover. Your group can decide whether or not you want to have some of your LP pooled or not. That's period. And I think that that's actually the correct balance.
And we've heard a lot from players who participate in various
CCP could just award Corps extra LP for positive activity and objectives achieved. It's possible, but here's the thing. That's the exact same thing with extra steps, right? Like, that's the same as having a 10% tax. Although, technically speaking, the players could, or, you know, the group could just decide to not take that 10%. Donation is voluntary, taxation is not. Heck, make an agreement with each member. Okay. I'll put it this, like, I can't stress this enough. This is one of the biggest pieces that was requested for faction warfare. This is what breaks a lot of faction warfare groups. So, like, this enables coordination. Asking for donations. The other thing it does is this. We could probably see who donates the LP. Because remember, people can also just donate LP to the Corp now, I believe, right? Yeah. So one of the things is like Aderon Robotics, right? We can centralize our entire industry now. No longer, remember that scenario earlier where I said 10 Vexers and 10 VNIs? I don't even need to do that. Now, if I want to incentivize making those Vexers or VNIs like right now, I can put a bigger reward on it. But what if I just like tell everybody I'm offering a flat amount, 1,000 ISK per LP. And then people can just donate to the Corp and they get paid out. And then the Corp figures out what to do with everybody's LP. Right? Like, there's a reason, like, donations are good, but basically that makes it so that a few people take on the burden, and the very people that you want to benefit from it are the ones that really burden the cost, and the people that you least want to access it are the ones that freeload off of it. You know? So, it said tax is 0 when no one's in the Corp because of the tax. Yeah, exactly. Like, trust me, I raised the tax 1 or 2%, and like, it was one of the biggest, it was the biggest hullabaloo on Alliance-wide broadcasted messaging that's in COE history. Especially since we shut off that function eventually.
Activities related to LP income that often many players just keep that LP.
It's about the standardization. Like, what do you think that taxes are for? I feel like some people view taxes as like, so the government does things with money that it has. And like, well, government should just spend the money on that. And then like people get taxed, and that's somehow like a greedy, like taxes are the pooling together of resources to do cooperative, collective problem solving. I'm a big fan, especially on a smaller scale, like a corporation. I'm a big fan of the idea, like, if you enforce, I'm going solo. Well, I mean, like, there's an ISK tax already, right? So, I mean, I will say this: Aderon will almost certainly have a tax now. It'll be low, but it will at least have some. If for no other reason, because it helps us understand who's bringing in what. That's the other thing. I can tell who's ratting the most because I can see who's putting the most tax in. I can now, if I can see the corporation's LP wallet and who's producing that taxes, now I can know between that, the PVE, and no, LP tax. Between that, the rats killed, and the damage done rewards, I can really zone in on people plexing and fighting in a specific system or set of systems. But yeah, no, like, if you don't, Only ad hoc groups for you. Well, the thing is that like Aderon has always like functioned on the skin of its teeth. Again, we can, so the answer is that we can now, like I said earlier, we can now just blanket buy it like LP at like 1,000 ISK per LP. Don't quote me on that, but like as an example, like that's not unreasonable. Where do you think the money to pay for that LP comes from? Right? Also, yeah, people get a lot. Let me put it to you this way. No one who is actually doing faction warfare cares about giving up a little bit of their LP. No one who's actually doing faction warfare to any scale or degree is thinking like, oh my God, I need every LP I earn. No, trust me, we have 7 million LP that we don't know how to move, right? Like, if we can make that into the corporation's problem, that's fucking gold. That's everything.
In their wallets, never spend it because it might be too bothersome for them to look for a store. So they would rather have it taken by the corporation and then monetize that way.
Jacob, are you actually in Aderon? Are you saying that this is like actually something that you're actually upset as a member of Aderon? I don't remember. I don't know all the time who's who around here.
So we enabled that feature for them too.
All of this is coming out of these year-long studies we've been doing on the friendship machine and how the groups in our game, how they have this tremendous capacity to onboard players into a group that leads to friendship, where 73% of our existing players say that they've made a friend as a result of playing the game. We believe this will strengthen that even further and get a lot more of the players that miss that today to kind of get this on the radar, on the horizons.
So yes, would be good to sell your LP to Corp for ISK, would be good for new players. Right, but it also centralizes the problems. Oh yeah, that's what I was talking about when it comes to governments. Is like I believe in collective solutions to collective problems, right? If everybody's trying to figure out how to do LP, then that's everyone's problem. If we're working together, a good example is actually the data cores, right? When with the Shadow War event, what we were discussing was what would be a better idea? Buying all the materials from everybody that they looted and then having like a centralized production office that just cranks out data cores, or what? And then because of the fact that the recursive computing module was the big bulky piece, the pieces themselves were wildly priced because of market, wallet warriors. And therefore we could never like offer a competing rate when number to number against the market. And also the fact that progress is made by building the data cores. That's actually why I created the first offer of accelerators for turn-ins. Reminder, 5 data cores for 1 cerebral accelerator, master arm cerebral accelerator, which is worth like 80-90 million in Intaki, Hades, Femene. Moving on. But like what this does is it makes like we can just pull in all the resources and then push it to the next step, right? If we want to build, 100 Brutix Navy issues, or if we want to say get into Moros Navy issue dread building, or whatever, like this would allow us, technically speaking, every single member has everything at their disposal to build it from scratch, but nobody's going to do that. So, this doesn't take away from anybody who wants to do it on their own. Absolutely. I get that. And that's the thing. If you want to mine our moon and then transport it and then refine it and then use that to react and then use that with minerals that you've mined to build your faction ships that you bought with LP, then God bless you. But I want to provide, and we've aimed to compartmentalize every single step of the process, so that way you can basically step in and step out at any point, right? Like if all I want to do is earn LP and I don't want to mine, I don't want to build, I don't want to do those things, then I should just be able to get the LP and turn it in and get my reward. If I want to mine, I don't need to worry about what anybody's doing with this rocks. I just need to know which ones people need, right? So the additional tools allow options. If you don't like those options, build a different kind of organization. That's or join a different kind of organization. I think that I sincerely suspect, or I'm suspicious of LB buyback or LP taxes outside of faction warfare. I ain't gonna lie, unless, like I said, I could actually see the exact opposite. I could see a missioning corp just setting LP taxes to 100%. Right? We run mission fleets. You know, we provide all this stuff for missions. We're a mission running group. You keep the ISK, we keep the LP, and then we do stuff with the LP. Nobody spends their... I get in trouble every time I even say nobody, because even saying that nobody uses the 30-day skins got me in trouble. So it is the rare individual that actually spends their LP and makes money on it, okay? It is not uncommon for people to just simply leave LP piled up because they can't be bothered with it. But if it was a collective problem, we could pool it all together and solve it once, and everybody wins. But okay, no, I wanted to check to make sure that you weren't in Aderon, because, like, I'll be frank, if somebody in Aderon disagrees with me, I'm of the opinion that basically everybody in faction warfare is singing this praise. So if you can invalidate my assumption as a member of Aderon, then I want to hear from you and I want to take it seriously. And I mean, I'm not saying that I don't take your thing seriously, but like, if you, I needed to know whether or not your tone was, I'm unhappy with this feature, or I'm about to quit your corp because I'm unhappy with the decision you're about to make. Like, those are two very different things. You're free. That's fine, man. That's the thing, is that Eve has a place for you as well, which is great.
And for that, we are tremendously excited for.
Well, that was the last few seconds. Okay, so corporation projects. Okay, that's not the right one. So we saw the corporation project stuff. There's manual. There's dealing damage to other capsuleers. There's killing NPCs. There's mining. Specifying system, type of ore. So if I want to mine, like... Actually, that's a really cool idea. We could put a goal for mining for the low-quality ore. So that way we could supplement the people that mine the low-quality ore, and the people that mine the high-quality ore got to mine the high-quality ore. That balances a little bit for the guys who like to, you know, cherry pick. These projects will enable a corporation of any size to guide new members more efficiently. I mean, guide all members, I would assume. Allowing them to quickly focus their corp efforts. Every member, especially new ones, will clearly see what there is to do and how they can help. I hate the idea that this is focused, like, that this is a new player feature. This is like, this is the kind of tool to build your corporation's, like, rhythm out of, in my opinion. Air opportunities. There are many possibilities and for new and experienced capsuleers to find their path and playstyle that best represents their interests, especially when opportunities are made clearly visible to them. Corporations and alliances in EVE have developed a phenomenal capability of embracing a large group of individuals and giving them things to do, things that help build a group identity and take novice capsuleers on the complex and deep journey that is EVE Online. The Viridian expansion improves the process for corporations by developing and strengthening it, minimizing points of friction and increasing efficiency through new interface called Air Opportunities. Okay, this is my other big gripe about this. I am constantly harping on the idea that I want the agency rebranded as Aura, and I want all of the show info information to be moved into that. So that way people have one place that they always go to for information in game. It's where you can find out what to do. It's where you can find out anything in the Encyclopedia of Eve, or, you know, whatever, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the New Eden, as it is called in Echoes. The idea of having one place, like I go to Aura, she's my shipboard computer. She gives me all my information about what's going on. I like that idea. This is the opposite of that. There is nothing in this UI that makes it any different than agency UI. This could simply be in the agency. And I think that the excuse that they gave in the video was very flimsy. I feel like this is just more UI fragmentation, and I don't like it. But it looks nice. So we can see here that we have Enforcer missions, Dread Assault, Caldari Racket. We have Industrial, Abyssal Artifacts Recovery, which that's the one that they showed in the stream, was them running the Abyssal Artifacts Recovery. Which is an interesting point. There seemed to be a lot of combat for an industrial position, just so everybody's aware. But yeah, and then also Raid, Deserters Hideout, etc. Now, the other thing that they showed, which I got screenshots from the stream, but you see in the bottom, I got these confused at first. Whatever. In the bottom here, it says combat anomalies. So there's the home front operations, and there's combat anomalies here. So this is where you get combat anomalies, and you can browse it by career. What? Like, I want what? It could be agency, please. Like, rebrand agency as Aura and do this. Like, come on, please. Hey, what's up, Pockets? When can I give all my mission LP to Mauro? 13th, 20th, or 27th. So we also have this picture here where there's a transmission. This is as they are landing. This popped open. It says, we've detected valuable artifacts buried inside of asteroids incoming via abyssal rifts. Mine the asteroids, recover them, and the state will pay you handsomely. The strange ore they're buried inside the strange ore they're buried inside is interfering. I feel like the phrasing in that is a bit wrong. The strange ore they're buried inside makes it a bit interesting, or is buried inside. Is it? No, just take out makes. The strange ore they're buried inside is interfering with your warp drive, so you'll have to fly out of their area to escape. Abyssal hostiles will also be coming through the rifts. The longer they are open, the greater their threat level. Okay, cool. So, well, they said for newbie friendly and like 4 to 5 players. So this is actually a good catch there, Jeff. We'll talk about that in a second, because I think that the answer is scaling. So as you can see here, this is the site. There's a bubble around it. So that way, when you're in the bubble, you're warp disrupted the whole time. You can see here the Vexor. So one of the things that Maiku pointed out, which was really clever, is over here, you see... Oh, you're not going to let me do it, are you? Hold on. What? Why? Give me the full screen. Whatever. I don't... You know what? It's fine. We're fine. Everything's fine. At any rate, it says over here, there's 2 tasks. This says Abyssal Artifact Recovery. It says mine then loot crates before you are overwhelmed. And it says Admixi Mutanite, 0 of 12. And then below that, it says Hostile Waves. Current wave, 1 of 16. Next wave in 1 minute and 35 seconds, or whatever. So From this, we can assess a few things. The key here that was caught by Maiku is that it says to mine 12 units of Admixi Mutanite, and there are exactly 12 rocks on field. So the point here is to get in, mine those 12 asteroids. They probably leave behind a wreck or a box to loot inside some of them when you mine them, like randomly. There's a chance of there being a loot inside. And then you can turn in the Mutanite for other reward, and that's it. Now, here's the kicker. The current wave is 1 of 16, next wave in 1 minute and 39 seconds. So this is what we know. The waves are time-based, not kill-based, and they escalate in difficulty, which means the answer is that the site is scalingly difficult based on the fleet that you bring. If you bring a weak comp, like a single Vexer, you'll probably get taken out by the end of the as the first wave is landing, or by the third wave, because he starts dying in the second wave. If you bring a 4-man fleet, you could probably make it to like the 5th wave. If you bring 2 Logi and 3, combat cruiser or something like that, maybe you can make it all the way all 12 waves. And here's the other thing. These rats, they have different names. These are called Fervent Vedmak. This is a Dominant Leshak. That's a Fortifying Damavik. These are different prefixes than we've ever seen in Trig before. This is the first time that they've ever used a nomenclature outside of their normal nomenclature. But we can assume that like Fortifying Damavik is probably like a renewing. So it's unusual that they would make these decisions, like to change the nomenclature if it's going to mean the same thing. And also, do I have a picture of it? I don't. I didn't get a picture of it in time, I don't think. Did I? If we go to the actual live stream, we can see there are, in fact, wrecks, which means there are Triglavian wrecks, which means there are Triglavian salvage, right? So the price and value of T2 Triglavian salvage, or Triglavian ships, are likely about to become more affordable, and potentially the prices of T1 Triglavian ships and the base stuff to build T1 Triglavian ships, like invasion stuff, or sorry, abyssal stuff, may in fact go up in demand because of the increase in availability of Triglavian salvage. So it might very well behoove people to bring a fleet that's capable of just wiping out all 12 waves and then salvaging it all as an assistance. But I'd like to remind everyone, this is considered a industrial site, not a combat site. This is an industry job, and it still has combat defense requirement. So that's pretty critical. It's very similar to like, this is very, like, I've been calling this Resource Wars 2.0, basically, which is great. Ironically enough, I find it funny that they're using a Vexer. I think that this is the funniest detail that I don't think anyone caught. Can anyone guess? No, nobody who was there in chat, in voice, but can anybody guess why I find it both fitting and hilarious that they chose to use a Vexer for this demonstration? Anywho, let's see. I have a note here. Taxes. Who asked for this? Question mark. The answer? Every faction warfare group at every faction warfare meeting in the history of faction warfare. Oh, also the idea that corporations and alliances could trade within each other. That actually, as they straight up said that this is designed to help open up avenues of trading LP. So that's really kind of cool. If you can pool your LP, you could be like, hey, I've got a bunch of Rodent LP. I can trade Aderon Rodent LP to give them Nexus chips, and they can trade us FDU LP so that we can make, ammo in Intaki. Poof. That is actually a great option. Most common ratting ship? Nope, not even a little bit. Viridian? Nope. Because they picked the green Vexor? Nope. I'll give you a hint. I just pointed out it's an industrial site, not a combat site. The corporation projects mentioned above need to be communicated and displayed to corp members in a way that allows them to know the value to contribute. These are in the same. This has to be the same. Like, it's the same opportunity window, right? Yep. Malak got it. Oh, and Marcus got it. Oh, that was it. That's all you needed. Erlidis. No, the Vexor is the only combat ship that I can think of that still has mining bonuses on their drones. I think it still is, right? They still should be. Hold on. Yeah, drone hit points, damage, and mining yield. Now, to take my joke back a little bit, it doesn't matter because each rock has 1 unit. So the fact that it's a bonus to mining yield doesn't matter, but you can still bring 5 mining drones and put them on 5 different rocks. Arbitrator? Hold on. Does it really? Oh yeah, it does. Hey, look at that. All right. But yeah, that's why I thought it was funny, because like, oh yeah, they picked the ship that has a mining bonus. For some reason, I thought that the Vexor managed to keep it and the Arbitrator lost it, but that's fine. I'm going to hit ads, and remind you all to use the buddy code down below. Get your free million free SP. Free million free SP. I'll work on that. Also, we have market stuff like shirts and cups and such. If anybody's interested in new merch, I'm open to ideas. Also, I'm hiring. If you want to take your hand at editing some videos, I will pay ISK and other in-game rewards for your editing efforts. Covered that. Holding Corp. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the skins, because they did talk a little bit about that. Or, hold on. Actually, let me see if the... blah, 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 blah. When a player makes progress against one of the air opportunities or chooses to opt in or track an air opportunity, it will be represented in the activity track tab of the interface. Yeah, we saw that. Air opportunities and corporation projects will assist players with being aware of what matters in the corporation and accessing activities that directly contribute to achieving those goals. I wonder, it'd be cool if it, like, you could just be like, hey, corporation project, this activity or this air opportunity. The other thing that I really am interested in knowing is, like, we still don't really know how the group coalesces, right? Right? Like, if there's an air opportunity for an industrial site, does it wait until the slots are filled and then get people there? Does it spawn the site for all of people? Can people race to finish it? Can people join halfway? There's can somebody hop in and grief it? There's a lot of questions that kind of jump from that. And I don't think that don't think that I believe any one, like, right or wrong answer. Obviously, there's a lot of different opinions, and there's a lot of design and balance that goes into that kind of thing. Would be cool if court management could set all combat anoms in X range of Y systems or something like that. Yeah. I think that it should be expanded from system to like system, constellation, or region. Because they've been doing it that way, right? Like the Verret constellation, special military operation, the Verret constellation. Well, great. We're going to put a bonus on the Verret constellation. Done. So, okay. I'm skipping home front operations for now. Well, yeah. I want to talk because we've been talking about this LP buyback and trade in and all that kind of stuff. So here's the thing. Coming soon after the launch of Viridian, corporations within alliances will also be able to donate corporation Evermarks to the executive corporation of the alliance they belong to, as long as they have been part of the alliance for at least 30 days. Executive Corps can then distribute accumulated Evermarks to any other corporation that has belonged to the alliance for at least 30 days, allowing holding corporations within alliances that may be responsible for structure management to use Skinner and apply nanocoatings to structures. Okay, so this is the solution to the problem that we were talking about. I'm closing the window. Hold on. I'll be right back. Sorry, kitty. My bad. Start with you. Okay. Where were we? Okay. Yeah. So, the problem that we have is that, well, I do make the joke that this just shows that CCP has no idea what a holding corporation is in this case when it comes to structures. Because, like, a holding corp is not the same as an executive corp. And, like, I like the idea that they can distribute the Evermarks where they need to within a larger organization, just in case different groups have different structures. That makes sense. That tracks. But what we normally are talking about is that we have a corporation outside of the alliance that holds the structures. So that way the structures are vulnerable. Anybody can war deck that corporation at any time, and then we have to choose whether or not we want to defend it. But
you have been promoted.
Hold on. This one is Danny's fault. This pause brought to you by Arydanika. All right. It is National T-Shirt Day 07. So, but the issue is that high-sec groups want to be able to have goals and services in a larger group without making their people vulnerable, right? Like, if I want to just have a mission runner come into the fleet or come into my alliance, if our alliance is even war deckable, like that's a no-go because they don't want to be like put out by a war, right? So we keep our general membership in the alliance, and then when the war happens, we either transfer people over to the holding corp or have Aderon Robotics ally into the war, so that way our PvP pilots from there can come over, or more likely than not both. We had talked about having to transfer the structures to Aderon, but boy howdy do our Aderon leadership not like structures. So this is kind of that middle point workaround, okay? So now what we could do is we can spin up a new corp, or just take one of our corps that we have now and put it in the alliance, and then after 30 days transfer all of our Evermarks to it, and then move it outside of the alliance, and then transfer all the structures over to that corp. And now we have a corp with all of our Evermarks that can put up the structure skins. And then you just put up a second corp, and you put that in the alliance, so that way it cooks off. And then if you run out of Evermarks in the first holding corp, you just transfer the second one out, transfer all the structures, Bob's your uncle. So it is functional now, but it requires a bit of tedium. And I think that like that was the thing I was racking my brain about. Like, why bother? Either make it so you can't transfer Evermarks, or to like holding corps outside of an alliance, or just let us be able to transfer it freely, like not wait 30 days. Like, why the 30 days? And I think that the reason why, I can't remember who brought up the argument that compelled me, is just simply that that would make Evermarks and the generation of Evermarks a much more effective commodity, right? The generation of Evermarks could become a service, you know? You just join your corp, just like in the same way that like standings can be a service, or, you know, let me join your corporation. You give me CEO. I pop a button. Now your corporation is max sized, and I hand you back the corporation. You pay me, and we're happy, right? Like those things exist. So this would prevent people from just like generating Evermarks and then just selling them to whatever corporation. Because it's a lot of coordination for two different organizations to do, and a whole bunch of BS. But for a group like us that's internal, I think that this is totally a workable solution. I would like to note that I am already not the only opinion on that, even within the Alliance. I'm hoping that this argument is compelling to people, but I know that there's a lot of people that are still really upset about this. Yeah, I can see an Evermark transfer corp existing that switches between alliances. Yeah, it's just, are you willing to wait 30 days or 60? Yeah, let's assume that you can pre-stage the corporation. So yeah, are you willing to wait 30 days? Without the 30 days, respective directors could wreak havoc on alliance, setting up a fake corp, moving it in, grabbing Evermarks, and leave right away again. Yeah, but like a lot of directors could totally, like, if you're a director in the alliance, chances are you can sweet talk somebody and letting your alt corp be a corporation within the alliance. Then you're just there for 30 days, you transfer it all to it, and you leave. So I do think that the ability, I'm repeating myself, but I think that it's absolutely bizarre that they added a new role for spending Evermarks, but not a new role for spending LP or making, bounties. Like, the fact that that takes director blows my mind. Let's see. Tax reforms. This was actually the thing that I was hoping for exact clarity. Oh, actually, we'll do the boring thing and then we'll do the exciting thing. I was hoping for some clarity on this because I'm sort of worried, but even the worst case scenario isn't that bad. Let's read this carefully. Empowering and strengthening corporations is a major part of the Viridian expansion, and there are also changes coming to broker fees and industry job fees that will make more equitable environment for industrialists, leveling the playing field and creating more opportunities for groups to increase profits by utilizing observable knowledge. These changes will give more ISK to facility owners and give them more agency to leverage their citadel as an income source as a means to stay competitive. Previously, the SEC would take half of the current cut taken from the broker's fee, which really ate into the ability for facility owners to earn any profit, especially when they wanted to stay competitive with a low tax rate. Now, facility owners can earn the full amount, with the SEC taking a fixed 0.5% instead. Similar changes are being made to industrial job installation fees, giving facility owners the ability to earn more income from their structures, especially those located in low-index systems, and also increasing the value proposition for a corporation of owning an upwell structure. Additionally, changes are being made as to how industry job installation fees are calculated. Firstly, system bonuses are being removed. System bonuses have existed since the creation of the industry index system, but they have remained relatively obscure. Those with this knowledge, or lucky enough to live in an area to experience these benefits, would previously have a significant competitive advantage. So that was the one, like, I definitely, like, I'm most sketchy on that last paragraph. I feel like I understand what's going on, And Krell helped me understand, I think, a little bit of what's going on. So we'll talk about best case scenario and worst case scenario. So first of all, what are we even talking about here, right? What we're talking about here is once upon a time, there were slots, right? In order to build something, it would have to be in a structure or a POS, a station or a POS, NPC station or a POS. And each manufacturing facility and each station had a number of lines that were available. And so if you put in an industry job, you would consume that line. If there is a line already open, you would just hit enter, or it would run immediately. If for some reason there were already all the slots taken, like for instance, you're trying to make a run in, say, Jita, it puts you in a queue and waiting for a line to be open. So, you know, in the middle of nowhere, there's always going to be lines open. In like an industrial hub, you may have to wait like a day or two. In Jita, you could wait up to a month for a line to even start the industry job. They changed this to being a scaling cost called the industry price index, which is added to the industry job installation fees. So the more people build in a system, it's no longer a hard cap where you have to wait. It's now a soft cap where you just have to pay a little bit more based on the number of jobs being done within the system. Okay. Now, apparently, and I did not know this, apparently when they first did that, which, Orleas, if you can get a link to the dev blog that Krell was talking about with me, and shoot it over to me and let me know that when you do that, that'd be awesome. But either way, in the dev blog that was talking about this, apparently they talked about the fact that systems with more stations were given a bonus to compensate for the fact that more stations would have meant more industry lines, right? So a system with 5 stations would have a bonus to its industry index. In other words, the industry index would stay lower for longer. That's what's being removed, for sure. That's why it's kind of obscure, and knowledge and lucky enough, et cetera, et cetera. The thing I don't know is if this means that the faction warfare bonuses are going away too. One of the things that a faction warfare system does I'm not in faction warfare. I'm not in Hades with this character. One of the things that, like when you have a system in faction warfare, you can dump LP into the iHub to raise its level up to 5. This used to be part of the point system that Warzone can what's it called? I guess the Warzone tier was based on, was these points from these from buffing up the systems. But it also gives really big bonuses, like it cuts in industry costs and it cuts in market fees. So it's very possible that this is undermining, or this could maybe destroy those. However, I have it on good authority that especially the industry one is definitely not the biggest consideration. Like it's a cut. It's 50% of like the smallest part of the fees. So it doesn't really give you that much of an effect. Unless the system is like hopping to a level that none is. And it supposedly only works in NPC stations. I'm pretty sure that's true. So this wouldn't even be affecting things in Asbels anyways. So that's one way it can encourage people to be moving to structures, because technically speaking, so the structures now are having a smaller cut taken out of their stuff so they can charge less or get more from what they're making to pay for fuel. And at the same time, there's more incentive to use the structures, because the bonus, there's even more reason to use a structure over a station. I think that's where they're going with that. It's really kind of sketchy, that part, I think. We'll just have to see what that means. It probably will almost be completely unnoticeable. All right. Anything else? No. Before I jump into Homefront, the only unusual thing I gotta say is that, like, this whole thing, this blog is about cooperative projects. Can we say that? Like, if we have one thing that this is about, it's about cooperative gameplay. Group projects, taxes, air opportunities. All of this is about cooperative game. Homefronts is all about cooperative gameplay. Active cooperative gameplay. And they're showing off the actual things, right? They're showing off the sites. They're showing off the different kinds of sites. They actually show off probably the Mimitar, let's just guess, or yeah, this is a Mar. Actually, this looks a Mar too. This is a Mimitar one for sure, right? Like, these are the home fronts. But there's 5 different sites that they could show and 4 different races. They only show 3. But yet, and then they have this thing like, oh yeah, big fleet fight. That's fine. They should have, I think that they could have had a structure there, given the fact that they're talking about structures. But, you know, big things, that's what taxes are usually paid for. But then there's this video, like at the very end. And this one's got me, man. This one's got me. You know why? Do you see this thing down here? That is I'm just going to call it the stabilizer. I don't know if that's actually what it does, but this thing is a piece of drifter tech. This is a drifter wormhole. Why are they showing a bunch of Vexers or VNIs traveling as a group into drifter wormholes as part of the cooperative things that they're doing for this dev blog? All right, let's talk about home fronts. Home fronts, well, let's start out the home front section by just saying this. If you are in Malro, home fronts are now our primary objective. Like, this is our life now. So home front operations are the cooperative gameplay opportunities for air opportunities. Like, this is the sites for the air opportunities. So there are 6 new kinds of sites. We can probably like go up to the thing and predict that, like, well, there's the Dread Assault site, there's the Metaliminal Meteoroid site, there's the Abyssal Artifact site, there's the Raid Deserters Hideout site, the Suspicious Signals Stop the Sabotage site. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that only 5? I thought they said there was 6. So maybe there's one that's not here. But there you go. There's 5 of them. Will they scroll? Oh, emergency aid. 6. So yeah, that's very likely the 6 new kinds of sites. So there's 6 new sites, 4 racial flavors. So a total of 24 different sites. Now, if the rats in them are things like Triglavians, then it really isn't going to matter too much whether or not you do it on the Caldari side or the Amar side, because you've got the same hostels. So I'd still consider that 6 sites with different, like, for instance, the Shadow War sites, right? There's a Amar flavor besieged and there's a Mimitar flavor besieged. But the sites are effectively identical. You only have to have one strategy. So it's really only one site. So in this sense, like, I don't know whether or not you're doing it for one race over another is going to make a difference. It doesn't look like it's going to. It doesn't specify things. I do think that it's really interesting that these cards, you know what these remind me of? Eve Echoes, just a little bit. I think that, so this is the question. It's like improving missions, replacing. I think that this just augments missions, right? Like, missions can exist and these can exist. And now you need to fix missions less because there's this for people that want it. And you don't need to anger the people that like missions the way they are, because you don't need to change missions. You just make these more rewarding than missions, and Bob's your uncle, right? Okay. They mention enemies possibly being opposing factions. Yes, that's true. So yeah, I don't know 100%. Obviously, there's still some things to find out. Hey, thanks for that. You're watching the last 90 minutes at 2 times speed. Should I just talk really, really fast now so that way it sounds the same? Yeah, so it looks like an explorer site. 1, 2, 3 enforcer sites and 1, 2 industrials. Am I right? Does that even math up? 3 combat, 1 exploration, 1 industrial, 2 industrial. That's 6. Cool. These homefront operation sites will be populated by yeah, including forces of their opposing faction, pirates, and rebel groups. That's true. So how this will affect standings is pretty interesting. What LP that you will get for doing it. How much do you guys want to bet that we're going to get Evermarks for running these things? Bob, your uncle? No, it is Bob's your uncle. No, you don't throw your uncle into the water to see if he bobs. That's not nice. Don't do that. Yeah. The NPCs you have to defend or rep will just swap. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Because you, in some of these things, you have to, so like the Dread Assault likely is like, because you read that and you're like, oh my God, is there a Dread fight? Chances are you're supporting the Dread, right? You're attacking, in this case, the cartel. And it's the Mimitar are bringing a Dread to kill the cartel, and we have to defend the Dread while it sieges and blows up the cartel outpost, right? That's what it reads to me. Abyssal artifact recovery is the going in, mining while rats are spawning and mining up the different ore, grabbing the loot and getting out. And suspicious signal, exploration, cool. Stop the sabotage. Stop the sabotage reeks of the new, or like the Shadow War sites. And metaliminal meteoroid. I mean, obviously that's a different kind of mining in different sites. Basically the Pochfin site just for HiSec. Again, I really think it likens it closer to Resource Wars, right? Because you go in. Well, there's reason to kill the rats because you can salvage them. You can, depending on how. Oh, the Dread one. No. The opposite of the Dread one. Although I guess in the Dread one, a Dread shows up to help you kill the structure. So yeah, take out the opposing Dread as part of the site, and just bring in an allied Dread. And yeah, that's pretty close. This doesn't. Yeah, the Dread I think helps you kill the structure. Oh boy. Whatever. Having to lean in too much today. My setup is not quite perfect. I was rushed today. Okay. So the big question that I have is how do I go, and I've mentioned this earlier, how do we go from clicking on this to being in a group and running this? What are the steps at that point, right? Does it automatically build a fleet? Does it make a chat room for us? Does it give us time? Because like it's timed. The waves come. Like, how is all that going to work? Is it going to lock the number of people that can join? There's a lot of unknowns. And what I find really interesting is that it doesn't actually specify on here. You would think it'd be like, yeah, this enforcer mission is for, 7 people, but that's not actually what it says at all. So there's a lot about these sites that we still don't know. And yet I can still firmly tell you that like, this is probably maximizing these things is going to be our new thing, right? Because this is the perfect opportunity for us to have new players mixing with old players, doing group content, that brings us together. I mean, we do level 4 missions as a group, and it's fun, you know? Like, I could probably make more ISK as a solo pilot, but I'll tell you what, I do more missions when I'm doing it with a group, so I end up making more money anyways, and the whole group makes money, and I get to hang out with people. I get to enjoy my experience. So, like, playing with others makes it more enjoyable, as it turns out. I mean, I guess it depends on what kind of person you are, et cetera, but, you know, whatever. For some people, you know, whatever. So, you know, we've really been missing since chapter 3 of Invasion started, and we lost like the permanent access to invasion sites. Like, we've really felt that. So the fact that these basically look like Minor Conduit 2.0 has me so excited. I just can't even breathe. Right? Like, I want to do, like, I could do an 8-hour stream again where what we do is we just run between these things potentially. You know, it could be a great place to practice FCing. Well, I actually don't think it'll work like a filament jump, because the idea is that people will be shown tasks that are close to them, right? So it should only be within 1 or 2 jumps of all of these missions that are here are all within 1 or 2 jumps of them. So hard to say. But my point is, did I have a point? Shoot. Oh yeah. Like, the idea that we can just have PvE fleets again that pool our efforts, and we have payouts and we have goals from it. You know, what if we combine these things, right? What if there's trig loot in there? So we end up wanting to become trig, you know, we sell T2 trig stuff, right? So what we do is when we go out there, we just all trig loot goes to the corporation. And then when we sell trig stuff, that ISK either gets sent out as rewards for the people that contributed, or you know, helps pay for everything within the corp, you know, whatever. But my point is that these things can be merged together to make cohesive campaigns and lifestyles, occupations, you know, that utilizes multiple goals. I really, really like this. I also, so there's an interesting piece to all of this, which is that because these places are in certain locations, there is a very decent chance that the placement of these sites are decided by AI, in the same way that invaded systems were created by AI, and there's an AI that decides where to make the platforms available for shipcasters. Like, this could be operated by AI functioning on those different races, which means accomplishing these things could contribute to overall success of the faction that's asking you to do it, which I think would be really great. I'm up for some pickup group PvE. Yeah, exactly. I think this is awesome. So yeah, if Eve does, CCP does a cross version of these with Eve and the shooter, right? Well, like, this goes back to what I was saying earlier, or like another day, which is like, I think that the way to do the shooter is make it so that structure fights can also have a shooter fight, right? Like, they can bring in carriers with support ships with crews in them that CRU, clone reanimation units, that shuttle clones in and out, which allow you to have soldiers go into the structure to command control points that can, like, increase the damage cap, or, you know, affect the data in other ways. If you draw off the carrier, then you don't get any more, you know, you lose your backup clones potentially. And because of the fact that it's a timer, both groups have an opportunity to hire mercenaries, get their own group together, etc., etc. And it's a balance between the two. You know, they're not totally intimately tied, but with just a couple of minor interactions, you can really feel like it's one fight happening in 2 different games, which I think is pretty reasonable. But like, that's how I think that they would be combined more than anything. But it could be fun if there was like a mission like this that combines multiple disciplines. This is one of the things I was asking about. Like, could it be that the Metaliminal Meteoroid has like people sign up as industrialists or military, right? Like, or enforcer. So like, could you have a thing that tries to get 2 enforcer people and 3 industrial people? So that way you have some miners and some combat in order to do one task. Can you have a squad of Eve players and a squad of shooter players that are both attempting to accomplish one task? I think that that could be super sexy, but that is definitely not where we're starting with. I can tell you that right now. That is some daydream stuff. Oh, hold on. I should really mute my phone while I'm streaming. No, because I need to get phone calls if it's the school. So, all right. Yeah. So we don't know the rewards for these things. I expect Evermarks to play a role in it. They said 4 to 5 players. We don't know if it's going to have hard caps or soft caps. And I feel like this is going to be opportunities for people to quickly learn how the things work. And it's probably a simple enough task that once you run a couple of them, you can probably be the guy that, like, if you're the most experienced person, you could still pull things together and make it work, right? And I think that gives it a big advantage over things like incursions, right? Because like this literally is like, well, why aren't you just making a fleet for it then, right? Like, everybody draw straws. Who knows the most about this site? All right, take charge. All this time, the boarding procedure. Yeah, the Viridian zone is for docking and undocking of soldiers only. No parking. Yeah. Yeah, Destiny style PvE stuff too would be great. Don't get me wrong. But I think it'd be more complicated because you have to give a reason for both people to be invested and also a reason for it to be okay if there isn't anybody invested on the other side. Ash, have you seen? Yes, I get it. They keep hinting at the shooter. It's fine. It's fine. We're fine. Everything's fine. What are the value of Logi and all this? Is there going to be a value in ramping up all the way to 12? Like, I seriously think that you can just turn these industrial sites into a combat site by bringing in a fleet that's big enough to go all the way up to the tier 12 or to the 12th wave, and then loot all the wrecks. Does he ever select? The rat. Yes, he did. Right there. So the rats also have bounties. The rats also have bounties. So yeah.
Tranquility that he hasn't been added with. He needs to get out. He's got drones. He needs to get out of range. He's got to break the cycle. He's got to stop, break the spool on that gun. Although it is a Leshak, so it's going to be kind of.
So the Leshak is 750,000.
I noticed someone asking in chat about the Mutanite, the new type of ore that you can find in this particular site.
Oh, yeah?
It's so that's the reward for the miners. You take it out from this site and then sell it to NPC buy orders. That's how miners make money in this one.
So this is not ore that provides minerals. If it was an ore that provided minerals, then it would have a an industry tab to tell you what it reprocesses into. This is simply, this is Drone Poo 2.0. It's what? Glittering loot, gold loot, Viridian loot. We're going to have to figure it out, but it's basically just MP. It's a commodity. It's just another commodity. The understanding player, there's one that specifically asks whether or not you'd be interested in a shooter set in the EVE Online universe. Okay, what time is it? Where am I at with time? Okay. I mean, I'm definitely not doing the other topics today, so tomorrow we'll do the New Eden news and all that sort of stuff. Let's see. We did the Holding Corp and Alliance. Industry taxes. We talked about that. Pooled industrial efforts. Goals versus buy. We talked about that. That's the whole, like, you can pool. Somebody in chat, I think it was, oh no, I know him, and now I'm completely dying on his name. He's like a really smart dude that contributes a lot on like in like talking in stations. Doctor something? No, not doctor something. Never remember. He knows who he is. He pointed out that this is not a buyback. This is a pooled industrial effort, which is true and also totally good. You know, like that's fine. Because we can build an industrial goal and build a program with it. Dr. Spotamane, thank you, Dutch. We talked about LP trade and being able to potentially trade LP between corporations as a way of like transferring one LP for another LP, or even just cashing out LP directly. I did talk about CCP Ghost and how he's truly a terrifying person. I ain't gonna lie. I was really, really, really nervous about this dev blog. Like, we knew, like, this was the missing piece that we were waiting for, that we knew, like, we've seen the shadow of the elephant during all of these dev blogs, but we hadn't actually seen the elephant. So I was incredibly nervous and incredibly excited when I woke up this morning. And when I started watching the video, I was kind of down. And then as soon as I saw that CCP Ghost was there, I got 9 times more excited, because, you know, the things that he's working on, like, this is it. This is what we've been trying to do since 2016, right? Make PvE content that bridges the gap from new player playing the game to new player contributing to a corporation, to existing corporation doing higher and higher and more complex tasks and goals. Like, this is it. This is it. It's not perfect. There's still some more things that could be done and improvements made. But guys, this is the missing piece. This is the thing that EVE has needed. We don't need new industry windows. We need the ability to coordinate larger things, communicate corporation information in a way that's better than EVE mails and MOTDs. Okay. Somebody asked why not null about Homefront operations. And what's funny is that they asked it directly after they answered the question as to why. And I think that it's an important thing to remember, because I think it's very telling about why the sites have come out in the way they have over the last 3 years, which is that they can release something in HiSec that is broken in one way or another, and it be technically fine, right? If it hurts everybody's performance, if it kills the node, it's technically okay for this to happen in HiSec. People can cope. But things have to perform as best as they possibly can in nullsec in particular. So they tend to like to test concepts in HiSec before exporting it elsewhere. Because as PvE, you can balance it faster. You don't have to balance competing efforts as much. And you can test to see if these beautiful graphics will work or not before you make it into an essential thing that nullsecers are forced to do. You know what I mean? Like that's important. So nullsec, however, are getting all of these new goals and tasks to be able to manage their ratting and projects and all that stuff, and T2 Lancers, Dreadnoughts, and probably some other things. I think that nullsec should be pretty happy as well, but I think that there's very good reason why these homefront operations are in highsec only. It's worth noting that invasions were also highsec only event originally, but then eventually, about halfway through chapter 1, actually not even halfway through, shortly after we got to World Arc, so like maybe 2 months after Invasion Chapter 1 began, they extended it into low sec. So as the empires gear up, the more advanced version of these homefront operations could very likely appear in low sec. It's kind of like that's what a battlefield is, right? Juicy. You see how all of this kind of comes together? Yeah. Now I can get myself goals in my solo corp. You know what? Yeah. And that could actually be pretty darn useful. I think if I was in a solo corp, I would totally put like a rat goal on myself. And just so I can keep track of exactly how many rats I've killed in that system in that period of time. Or you know, in general. I do agree that the ratting one could be really handy if you could specify the faction of rat you're talking about. So that way we could specify that it has to be the faction warfare rats, or maybe like, because the problem is that missions make you go multiple systems. So like having a mission fleet that combines them all, like I think it'd be too limited for that. But if you said like angel rats, then that could potentially help direct people. The Homefront system is one way the nullsec alliances could get access to the shipcasters. Okay, quick idea. Okay, well, I mean, yes, technically, sure, but they mentioned that nullsec would probably get more advanced and special escalations, right? So what if these kinds of sites now spawn as an escalation, but you can like turn it into, what if you can turn escalations into corp goals, right? Like an opportunity. So you run missions, or you rat, and you get escalations, and you can transform them into these things. Get a group together, and then go do it. Done. I have an RP obligation to shoot Blood Raiders. I'd love to set that goal. Yeah. I think that they should just put in the ability to make personal goals, even if. Although, hold on a second, because there was something else that they showed.
Volumetric clouds, they will be making their debut, and they'll be limited to these Homefront operations sites for now, with their new sites, and they'll look fantastic. We'll go take a look at one. But the volumetric clouds are kind of going to be tested out in these sites, so we can make sure that they're performant enough before we look at maybe rolling them into other parts of the game. And while I'm on my way there, something else.
He is talking about the clouds, but I'm talking about the mechanics as well.
You're probably going to need like a composition of ships, with the exception.
Different ships take everyone alive, and in other situations,
sites, the other site, and you're probably going to need like a composition of ships, with the exception of maybe the mining ships, wouldn't be necessarily unlike what you'd see in a typical player fleet, where you have DPS ships for certain jobs, you have tackle ships for certain jobs, you have logistic ships for certain jobs, and they will all need to sort of work together in a coordinated way in order to fill the objectives of the site, rather than just shoot everything and then go home.
Yes,
that was exactly the point, to expose players to roles in fleets. That's why those dungeons, those sites are made, so that
I love how CCP really always calls their sites dungeons accidentally, and then they have to correct themselves.
Different ships taking multiple roles. As you said in those examples, some people will need to have warp scramblers, while others need to have remote shields repairers to keep everyone alive. And in other situations, the fleet needs to.
No, it's just they use industry terms. Like in the background, you know, sites are called dungeons, individual grids are called rooms, and the gates are called doors. because like that's the developers are not necessarily thinking in the nomenclature of the actual game. The developers are software developers. They're thinking of it in terms of like a game design problem.
Have some miners in it while other people are trying to defend them. So this builds the skills for the players on how to cooperate in a fleet, how to behave in a fleet, and also shows them how interesting it could be to play with others. Because when you're just running solo and doing missions or anomalies, then day over day you are doing the same thing essentially. It can be exciting, sure, because you are progressing, you are getting better at it.
I mean, I unironically would be in favor of megafauna in space. But like CCP, it's always been a thing that EVE Online is a game about humans being bad, or is a story about humans being awful to other humans. Like everything in EVE, all of the things that we have to, all of the challenges that we have are either from other humans or from things that are derived from humans.
Find more and more nuances about what you are doing, and you can improve. But here you are exposed to more chaos. Basically, this gets interesting when you try to join a fleet and do some new things with people maybe you didn't know before, and that teaches you how to behave and how to socialize essentially.
I mean, I think that goons would probably be the Empire, and or like whatever major like ruling tyrant like military force that happens to exist in that world. And Horde would be the orcs / goblins, right? Like Horde is the orcs / goblins. Just saying.
In EVE, and it shows you that even if you are a small time miner in a venture, you can be part of a fleet that actually needs you, and together you can earn better money that you could do solo, or any of them could do solo otherwise. So that's.
I could probably make a fair argument that oh yeah, that's what he's saying about being able to make more doing this than solo. You can make the fair argument that the Imperium is elves, because they live in their opulent, their opulent cities away from everyone else, look down on the lesser races, are convinced that they'll live forever, and are just a little bit fascist / racist to everybody else. Imperium men. I think that I think that the Imperium would definitely be like the high elves, if we're talking about a D&D world. Oh man, that's a whole nother topic. Hold on, I want to skip back further because I think I missed the part where they were showing off what I was looking for. Here we go. So how did we get to this window? Easy to hate like high elves. Exactly. The Imperium are the Altmer. Do elves scam outsiders out of their property? Well, woodland elves will raid caravans and stuff, right? I mean, I think that the bigger thing is like high elves won't even consider too much the needs of the other races so much, because they see them as being kind of ephemeral and here and gone, whereas their needs and their culture is the lasting, strong
community. And yeah, what do you want to add to this, Daniel?
So when it comes to how do I find stuff to do? Right? That is
Danny, we're mixing up our
metaphor is about.
I think.
Whereas as you said, agency is a catalog of content and kind of encyclopedia a bit of content that explains what there is to do and how to do it with some minimal instructions. Air Opportunities is particular instances of that content. What kind of sites are around you? What kind of homefront operations are around you? what you could do.
This is
right
very
now,
reminiscent of
right
Echoes.
then.
In fact, this is probably the best parts of
filters
Echoes without the bad
on your
parts
location.
of their
So, for
missions.
example, it will show you sites that are within specific
We were
number
blending.
of jumps from you.
I said Altmer.
So you don't get dragged into too long flights to search for content, but you will see stuff that is near you for you to do.
Awesome.
I skipped in.
Now,
I actually
onto the,
I did pull some Warhammer Fantasy in there too for a short period of time. Okay, hold on. What? Shoot, I just missed it. No.
For you to do.
Awesome. All right. Now, onto the
so he
the
hit
home front
clear.
operations themselves. So
He cleared the filter, and at the top, so now he's showing everything, and he sees home front operations, and then you can browse by career, and then he sees combat anomalies. So you see anomalies one jump away, just like the agency would, and then he has something. This is his corporation projects, which has the corporation has no active projects. So all of this is on one UI, right? It shows all of the home front operations, all of the anomalies, and all of that are near you, and all of the projects for your corporate. Excuse me, for the corporation, and it offers all these kinds of filters, so you can decide what exactly is going to be showing up. That's pretty cool. I like it.
So these are new group PvE sites which exist only in HiSec. Is that correct? Today it looks like there's about 6 different sites with and one particular site which is the same for everyone, no matter where it is. So these are fleets built around.
So one site that's the same no matter where they are. I assume that would be the Abyssal Artifact Recovery site, right? Because it's Triglavians no matter what. Whereas, I wonder if Air is going to buy out the agency. One can hope. Not going to lie, I do love FPS. I played a lot of PlanetSide, Destiny, Overwatch, Fallout, etc. I really like the atmospheric FPS. Interested to see where it goes. I like the FPS idea too, but I ain't going to lie. My most important thing is everything outside of the matches. I want to be able to walk around, I want to be able to walk around Jita 4-4. I want to be able to examine the streets of Kali. I want to be able to go to Kali and see damage from the riots that have just recently happened, that are happening. Right? I think that's what I want. Now, if we end up shooting other people in between, then that's fine. But I just want to be able to explore the environments as a person. Air has the sketchy AI that has multiple clone bodies. No, that is a Paragon. Air is connected to Aura, though. The exploration factor is why the shooters shouldn't just be matches. It needs to be open world experience. I would even be happy with it being like Overwatch, right? Where the levels have so much character, like we're fighting through the streets of Kali, but there's also all these different, like, you can go into the restaurant and blah, 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 blah. I want to know what I'm really wondering with Kali is, are they going to damage the Crystal Boulevard? And are they going to show us a picture of the Crystal Boulevard before and or after? Because the only picture that we have of the Crystal Boulevard is really crappy. You happen to stream while game awards? I'm not sure what you meant by that. Yeah. So let's see. Anything else? I don't know. Hold on. I don't think that we know. We never see the Vexer's fit, right? Does he ever hover over?
Get it, and they want more. And what is missing? How can we just work and just have them walk us through, like, how do you set up these fleets? What's important? What is
Let's look. Hold on. Let's see if we can get anything from this.
About these, you can have some experience, can make you a little bit the game.
And together you can
Put it up on this panel, which is super cool. It was taking us through those and talking about the new volume. Fantastic. We'll go take a look at one. But the volumetric clouds are kind of going to be.
Oh, he just closed it. He already has it selected. Does he have it selected at the beginning?
They will all
no, he doesn't. Where does he select it?
Your minor
cloud technology. This has also got the track thing here. So
yeah. Oh, okay. Got it.
Panel.
And together
so,
you can earn better money that you could do solo, or any of them could do solo otherwise. So that's what the incentive is here.
Also, I just noticed this has also got the track thing here.
So he didn't click into it, and he picked something. He didn't sign up for something. It's just telling him to go there.
Yeah, so it can put it up on this panel, which is super cool. Yes. And these are also the sites which are debuting the new volume.
What if the new shooter just simply had the PvE of Warframe and the PvP of Overwatch? That would be mind-blowing. Oh, I see. Oh, I see. Warframe drops. Got it.
Metric cloud technology. So if you watch the art stream back in back in May, something else that I thought was really cool.
So
popped into my
just
mind
undocks.
while we were talking about the home front operations.
It gives them the option to
is
jump.
That if you've got a group of players together and they have different roles in a fleet, someone's going to need to take charge, right? Someone's going to have to coordinate these fleets. So could also be a really sort of soft on-ramp for developing fleet commanders, so that they can have some experience.
I think. I wonder if they're just expecting people to kind of just cluster up on the gate until they have enough people.
Because speaking for myself, I know that going into
I guess with
PvP
it,
and null sec for the
jump,
first time can be a little bit.
You could post in local.
Can make you a little bit nervous as a player, but certainly the first time you've actually got to lead your space friends around, it can be even scarier. I'm on the test server here, and no one's been into the system yet since it last got reset, so we've got to wake it up. Just give it a minute. Let me see. Come on. And this isn't the Singularity test server. This is a different test server again. But CCP Ghost, did we have a conversation with anyone from the NPSI community about these things a couple of months ago?
Okay, so full disclosure. I have never played Destiny 2, even though I own it. So I'm not 100% sure what people mean when they say that they like or don't like Destiny. I've kind of caught on over time. But I will say that Destiny 2's popularity was really high when they pulled back Nova. And the last thing that was said about it before it went back into development, like deep development, was that the plan got scrapped in order to add more MMO-like features. So it's always been highly speculated that Destiny was the model that they started developing the new shooter on. Now, they could have, I mean, with the amount of time that they've taken, they could have completely restarted a couple more times. At least in the high level, or the actual implemented design structure.
Oh, that came down through CCP Burger and CCP Retardi, didn't it? Because at the beginning of the year, towards the end of last year and the beginning of this year, we had a series of conversations on Discord with different alliance leaders from around EVE Online, whether they're a couple of big groups, faction warfare groups, and
CCP
we also
Burger's
met with
cool.
two renowned, I won't say who, but
oh
two
my
renowned NPSI communities.
Yeah, absolutely. And
so
maybe, like Kiakti's Raptor fleets, right? He's always flying around in Raptors, which are relatively cheap. But
he's in the system now, and he can warp
which can
to...
kind of be expensive for a new player.
So if you look here, he's got both home front opportunities, even though he's tracking Abyssal Artifact. So it seems like anybody can go there. So now I wonder whether or not the gate has lockout or not.
yeah, absolutely. And before we started developing anything, like when this was in the high level design stage,
The beacon is not in the overview.
The entire
The beacon is not in the overview, even after warping to it.
development team have a couple of these meetings that you're talking about with fleet commanders, especially
Now, any of
new-
this could change,
newbie
obviously.
fleet commanders, and just have them walk us through, like, you know, how do you set up these fleets? What's important? What are the most fun moments? When do you know that like the players get it and they want
Going into this site did not cause a suspect timer.
more, and you know, what is missing? How can this be of value? And we just, you know, we're constantly writing down
Well, they have gates that just lock.
things, and after a few of these meetings, some
Because that way, if somebody leaves, another person can come in. Like, we've gone into a resource war site and there was somebody already there, so one of our people couldn't come out in. But then when they left, our person was able to come in.
very clear red threads started emerging, which we're trying to respond to.
So, okay.
With these
So this
missions,
appears when
and,
they land.
I'm relatively confident that this can be of a lot of value to not
And this is
only
obviously a new
current fleet
character.
commanders, but also, like you were saying, you know, veteran players and new players alike that want to test out, you know, setting up small fleets, but maybe with like less of you know, less of a commitment to what that takes, because here's like a frame around it and very clear time frame. And
Hey, look, it's all the
row
balls that
setup
they.
beforehand
This
and
is,
all of that stuff.
man. Let me tell you, they have been working on this thing for over a year. I can all but guarantee you, because I'm pretty sure a lot of this is the rogue drone assets that got put in a while ago, and then never really got used.
I'm really excited. Honestly, like everything we're delivering, I'm really excited for. I'm super excited.
Maybe
to see
I'm
how
not. Maybe I'm
kind of the
wrong. But
community
like
will use
everything
this
about this
and,
reeks that they've been working on this for a long,
yeah,
long
what will
time.
be the
Which means all of the things that we've seen up until now have been with this coming in mind, right? Like this, a lot of the faction warfare changes are kind of designed to nestle in with this.
outcome of that.
Awesome. This site looks great. I just noticed there's this cool effect, like a dirty lens, on the camera here that I'm looking through, and it looks like I land in some kind of a bubble, and there's some crazy artifacts, some broken asteroids, and you can see like the whole side is shrouded in these like clouds here, which as you move into them feels like you're.
Oh yeah, that's really cool.
Actually starts to fill up your vision and make things behind it harder to see.
Oh no, yeah. When he's in the fog, that's when he gets the
They're
camera
really
effects.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Hey!
the art team as usual.
As usual, yeah.
Hey, thank you so much, Kaz. That's awesome of you. I appreciate it.
And
Yeah.
and this is just one site. This is just the Abyssal site. So there's 5 other unique looking sites, but I won't spoil them all. You can check them out for yourself soon. And oh no, I'm warp disabled.
Okay, it just says warp
So that's-
disabled.
Yeah, and
So this is not a scram.
It's easy to forget when you're always involved in the game, but we test this through the roof every single year. When new players are joining our game and finding our community, they are at awe with how beautiful the game can
okay,
be. And,
hold
and
on.
sites like this single year, when new players are joining, it's easy to forget when
So I'm not sure why. I'm assuming that it's because he cloaked up while he was in warp. Hey, 07, thanks for that. But if you notice, the waves have not started. The waves start, the timer starts as soon as the Vexer comes in. So I think that he's not triggering the site because he's decloaked. This also makes it so that people can't just trigger the site and leave because they're bubbled. I guess you could do it with like an intercept. You could do interdiction nullification. Here, you could do it as a shuttle. Please lock out shuttles to not be allowed in these
when
things.
you're always involved in
See
the
also
game, but
corvettes.
we test this through the roof every single year. When new players are joining our game and finding our community, they are at awe with how beautiful the game can be. And sites like this, they score very, very high and are often a big
He's right,
reason
you
for
know.
why they extend their stay initially inside the game. And I exactly like Nomad is saying, massive kudos to the art team. They struck it out of the park.
Why are those rocks so low res?
Yeah,
That's
ooh,
weird.
ooh, my corp mate has walked in and some sort of little rift opened and a couple of.
Oh, the rift
a Lashak
closes.
Came through.
That's
This
pretty
is
cool.
newbie friendly. Oh, I suppose 5 people.
Oh,
can
yeah,
stay
we
under
don't
the
know whether or
guns,
not it's
so
going to
I
be
would
T1.
stay
We don't know
coordination.
T2.
Here's
We
my
don't know what
teammate.
kind of restrictions are going to be
Or my
here.
corp mate, should
I don't
say.
know. I don't know. I get the feeling like
See how it
this
goes.
site could be
Let's just stay
run
here for a
with
minute
like
and see
4 or
how
5
a lone
skips.
Vexer,
But at the same time, like
copes against
that
the
many
first
rocks
one.
is
See how
actually
it plays
really
out.
should
Good
be
luck.
pretty fast to
it's,
mine
good luck.
for
Let's see how
any
far you can go.
decent mining group.
Lemmy WS, just check Corp chat for a minute.
I guess what 2 minutes. So how long is a cycle? Is it a minute a cycle? Because that would make it like, so you've got 2, so 6 cycles total. So if you've got 3, then you could just mine all the rocks right and get out before right as the second wave is showing up. Yeah, no suspect timers for the new high-sec sites. That's correct. That's good that we got confirmation from Swift though. 20 seconds for civilian miners. No, don't let civilian miners work.
I'll get a verdict on that. Oh, it's getting chunked a little bit. Oof.
And of course,
Go
these
full
can be
range.
tied into
Okay, it's good.
frontline
I
or
wanna
like
show- so that's CCP
upcoming
Swift pulling around in
faction
the backside.
campaigns.
I didn't want to say like Lemmy WS because CCP Swift just in case he has an alt. You know, that's the name of a character he has on Tranquility that he hasn't been outed with. He needs to get out. He's got drones. He needs to get her out of range. He's got to break the cycle. He's got to stop, break the spool on that gun. Although it is a Leshak, so it's going to be kind of long. I don't know what's
So
what Emma's
I
got.
noticed
You
someone
probably
asking in chat about the
back into something?
Mutanite, the new type of horde that you can find in this.
Yeah, we talked about
And
that.
then have to be relied upon in order to disperse the
Fervent
reward amongst their
Vedmak,
fleet mates.
So
Dominant
the
Leshak.
Mutanite represents only part of the rewards.
I see.
The
What else is there?
majority of the rewards will be paid.
I
when,
don't see an effect coming off of the
when the
Vedmak
site is
though.
complete and distributed automatically.
Okay, is that ISK?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So enough to, like I said
And there it
before,
died.
enough ISK for a. I'm not as good as CCPB with the 3D mouse yet, so I'm not going to try it. Enough ISK for a new player to be pretty happy with
4
the work
years
that they've
for
done.
what?
But probably not so much that a veteran player like myself would want to just stay in high sec and crab these all day.
Well, I depends.
Okay.
Like, yes, like if you have a good group and well organized with people with good skills, then you can make quite good money from this, even for a veteran.
Hot.
CCP Swift isn't doing so well here. He took out the Vedmak, but now he's got this Leshak to worry about still. All right, we'll leave him to his fate. I'm sure he's probably going to blow up. 'Cause
I don't
another
see
wave has
him
just spawned.
taking like damage
Oh, this
though.
time it's drones. Got all
And a
sorts of wacky
machinist
stuff in this site.
renderer.
All right.
Maybe he's
that's
in
the home
potato
front
mode?
operations,
No.
fam.
That's not
I
true.
hope a lot of new
Wait,
players
there's a
will
remote
have their
rep.
first experiences in group play in these. I'm actually kind
So
of
the
tempted,
drone is doing
because
remote
right now
reps.
my main is just sitting in his NPC corporation, not a player corporation. I'm tempted just to like start, hooking people from NPC corp chat, rookie corp chat, and just say, hey,
And a machinist
if you're in
segmenter.
G to get in a spaceship, meet me here, and
A
we'll go do some
corrupted
fleets if you wanna try
cutter.
'em out, just to see how it goes. Might be
Alienator
great. Could
clamper. So now it's just
spectacularly,
more
who knows,
rogue
but There's
drones.
only one way to find out.
Yeah,
Oof.
exactly. Yeah. And I mean, if you
Exciting stuff. Do they show off anything else? They're just talking the rest of the time. I think they're just talking the rest of the time. That's a good pausing point for him. All right. Cool. Is that it? I think that might be it. Guys, I think that might be it. Thoughts? Last thoughts? Other things I might not have brought up? Oh, I will say this. One of the things that this got me thinking about, this one's for CCP more than anything else, but like, in my opinion, tags should be on the overview by default. And I think that there should be a setting that allows you to move where the EWAR and other remote effects appear on the overview. Even make it be off the like to the side of the thing on the overview, on the left side, on the right side, whatever, to make it so that like it's easier to read in the moment. That's it. That's my main suggestion with that. Oh, also, people were talking about, like, especially at the end, they're talking about the skins and all that stuff and how you could like invade a person's place. take the structure, or like you could put down a structure and like make it hideous. So that way they have to look at this ugly structure, and people are like, that's stupid. Why would you let people make things ugly? The answer is, it's a sandbox. If it's ugly, it's because a person decided that they wanted it to be ugly. And if you don't like it, do something about it. What if tags just overlaid over the ship icon? Sure. Yeah. Like, those were kind of two separate things, but the tag column should be there by default. And it doesn't need to be big. It can be resized by default too. So that way people know that to have it on and don't have to like fiddle with it at first. You can turn it off, Jeff. If you don't want tags, you can just turn it off. But the problem is that with it not being there by default, what ends up happening is players, I say, okay, follow tags, and we're like, the rats are coming in, and what I hear is, what are tags, right? So make it so it's not a hidden feature, especially if you're going to have these groups be regular, like a normal, if you're normalizing randos coming together to do group PvE, then you need to standardize the tools that are used for fleet coordination, tags, broadcasts, etc. So the real one is tags, in my opinion. Yeah. Also, this hasn't been noted, but like it seems really obvious that mining the rocks, completing all of the mining of the rocks, will make the bubble go away, because it's the rocks that are making the bubble effect. WoW now? Look. Eve isn't defined. Eve should not be defined by what it should be missing, right? There should be, like, if you want to do group PvE with randos, just because WoW does it doesn't make it bad for other people to do it. There's a reason why WoW is popular. I know. Oh. Sorry, I said it to say something. Can you recap access to how to queue into Homefront? I honestly don't know. In the stream, what he did was he just put it on his tracker and then went there. And the site just started when the first person went in. So I suspect it's going to be closer to Resource Wars, where you just like collect up on the gate, and then when you have enough people, you go in. I do think more could be done on that front, kind of like how your home station has a little house icon. Tags could be similar. Oh yeah, no, the whole UI and what information and how it's presented needs to be renewed. I've actually suggested as a goal, they should make it so that EVE Online is playable with a controller, right? I know that sounds crazy to some people, but if you manage to get it done, you could actually introduce it to Xbox and PS5, which is kind of cool. But more importantly, the act of thinking about a UI that's navigatable through this, most of its primary functions, just as easily as it is from keyboards, will help structure the UI in such a way to actually be the most useful, right? That's what I think. Radial menus are a huge win. Radial menus are my favorite. Always use the radial menu. I recommend moving it to the right mouse button. Yeah. So I think that just about wraps things up. There's a reason why organic get-togethers is good for the game. Vanilla WoW was amazing this way. It wasn't forced. It just happened. Yeah. And as a recruiter, we could take 2 people, right? I could take me and a buddy, and we can go to Homefronts. And whoever shows up, guess what? You're about to have a great run, because we're going to help you know what to do, and we're going to do it in such a way that if you mess everything up, it's fine. So you should fly with us more, because this is the kind of thing that we do, right? Like, that's amazing. how do you find the right corp for you? How do you find a corp? Every corp is just going to say that they do everything. Okay, well, if you want to be recruiting people for mining, run industrial home fronts. If you want to recruit people for combat, run combat home fronts. Basically, you're going to where they have one step in the door and then showing them that you're organized and bringing them in. This is fantastic. This is everything that made faction warfare good when it comes to these kinds of organic growth, magnified. I love it. One applicant to rule them all. But please, for the love of everything, bring it into the agency, bring show info into the agency as an encyclopedia, rebrand it as Aura, strap it to ChatGPT. No, don't do that. You can leave out the last part. I think that that's it. Oh, actually, I wanted to... Militant Trooper had a suggestion. He's really good at crazy suggestions. Most of them are, that range from everything from kind of chuckleable all the way to reasonably good. And this one, I think, was good enough to pull out and look at a little bit, which is that he wanted the ability to have smuggler maps so that way you could get a map that allows you to access the smuggler gates. So that way there's a reason to prevent sites from being run as much as to successfully run them. And I think that that's super cool, but I think that we should merge this with my idea, which is offer the information for those smuggler gates for only people with really high standings. So if you have like 6.0 at the Garistas, then they let you in on their smuggling network, right? If you, if you're friendly with the Serpentis, maybe you can get drugs for super cheap. Whatever. People are, internet's dead. The world is an illusion. Buy gold. Bye. Yeah. So I really think that that's all of the stuff. And the fact that we've been going for 3 hours makes it, confirms that it was all this stuff. So with that said, I have been Ashtarothi. I've been playing this game since 2010 and talking about it since 2012, and I'm here to put even to context for you, my fellow Empyreans. Thank you guys for coming. This has been an exciting day. If you're watching this as a recording, please, I love you. If you've made it this far, make sure to leave a comment saying that you did, because watching these videos all the way through, hugely important. So if you're hearing this, thank you personally. Means a lot. Number one, huge. I also definitely want to thank Kaz for his generous donation. Danny with her membership and suggestion to buy a t-shirt. Danny also just made a new short that's on the stream about nightmare skins. That's kind of funny and has done pretty better than all of my shorts. So I'm just bad at shorts. And Sheesh, thank you so much once again, dude. I'm gonna have to, if you message me with a message, I'll put you as a sponsor for sure on that one. But oh no, hold on. I do want to make sure I thank somebody. What? Okay, well, hey, found it. That was weird. Abyssus, Aikawarazu Chan, Arkas Ilring, Arydanika the Queen, Belligerent Neckbeard, Black Rose Noble, Dajat Lemmont, Drake, Golden Age Story, Jay Coons, Lumi, Malak Starfire, Midnight Space Monkey, Not Just Fun, Seeds Aplenty, Serenolin with No Eyes, Syliana Vel'ash, Tgen Tgen, Nephilim, Grendel, Yantey Lepouf, and Zaul Nex, and... Okay, one last piece of kind of sad news. Before I talk about the Immortal Tier supporters, I've been kind of going back and forth about what to say about this. I have been informed that Nihilum, friend of the show, Immortal Tier supporter, has passed away a couple weeks ago. I was given very little information about it besides that. They just wanted me to know and to thank everybody who had ever had time in Eve with him. So I don't even know if the person I was talking to was somebody like a lawyer or a family member or whatever. They just said I had instructions to contact you. So yeah. So I thought about what I was going to do about this, besides all of the normal, Sino vigils and stuff like that. It's sort of awkward that I have an Immortal Tier supporter that has passed away. But I've made the executive decision to say that Immortal Tier is supposed to be a place where you're there forever. It's immortal. So I will continue to read Nihilum's name, and he will continue to be an Immortal Tier supporter from here on out. 07 to, yeah, thank you for all the 07s and stuff. Yeah, so that said, I would really like to thank my Immortal Tier supporters, 745 MPSI, Ebo Elite, May, Merc Utan, Nihilum, LM1, and Rid. Thank you guys so much. It's been a blast. I don't even need to think about what to do tomorrow. Tomorrow we're just going to do what we were supposed to do today. Probably we'll be on Sissy, maybe not. Either way, it's going to be exciting. We have a lot more to cover. The world news has been very exciting. And like I said, there's been 3 news articles by now. By the time we actually are able to read them, it'll probably be 4. So yeah, we gotta catch up on some things because Viridian is coming at us fast and heavy. Get ready, guys. Thank you guys for watching. I have been Ashrothi, the voice of New Eden, and I'll see you in space.
Bring on the wrecking machine.
Now let's go save Integral.
For every city